Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. We are so thankful you're joining us. Ahoy, hoy, in my nautical outfit.
I like
Ahoy,
it.
hoy. Thank you.
The dog days of summer.
That's right. I want to keep it going. All right, we want to talk about this and get your opinion. As you may have heard, Vanessa Bryant won her lawsuit yesterday against LA County. So the jury, if you didn't know, awarded her $16 million after first responders leaked and shared photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband, Kobe Bryant, and their 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, in 2020. So Vanessa posted this photo to Instagram saying, "All for you. I love you. Justice for Kobe and Gigi." During the trial, we learned that sheriff's deputies admitted showing photos to bartenders and to friends. They also shared the photos with each other while playing video games. So what do you think of this verdict? She would also say that she got panic attacks when she heard about this. They were shown to firefighters and their spouses at an awards gala, and it was known as a party trick to sort of look around. Al, you were particularly hurt and shocked by the Kobe death.
You know, and it's weird because when I saw we were doing this story today, it made me think about the story of the kid here in Denver, Elijah.
Oh, McClain, yes,
Elijah
yes,
McClain,
yep.
that was murdered by the police. And how they were then reenacting his death photo. There were cops that were doing that and mocking the chokehold. I don't know, Lindsay, how you discipline people if there's no baseline for how low you'll go. I mean, yes, I'm glad that Vanessa Bryant got money, but I don't think it was the money she was going after. It was the principle. And maybe money's the only way people will learn, but what do you do with people that have no moral compass? I don't know how to discipline that.
Yeah, I think that money is the only thing that people understand sometimes. And so unfortunately, if you hit people at their pockets, or LA as a whole, county as a whole, in their pockets, then they'll stop and it'll be a deterrent to do it again. I mean, Vanessa Bryant testified that she didn't want the photos she lived in fear that they would be released publicly. And we've seen this culture of, obviously it has to be a fire department, a police officer, or somebody who has access to be first on site, sharing photos with TMZ and other outlets. Luckily, this didn't go that far, but she lived in fear that that was going to happen.
Every second of every day.
Right, and so there has to be some kind of deterrent to make people that are supposed to be protecting and serving you actually protect and serve, and not use photos of your dead child as a party trick.
Exactly.
So that is the problem to me. And then I think that she won this case on 8/24, both of Kobe's numbers, is so profound to me. And I'm just so happy for her, because she, through her grieving, had to fight a whole different fight, even though it's just hard enough to grieve losing a child and a husband. She had to fight a whole different fight, and she won. And so I think this justifies, and anybody who's not on her side really just needs to go take a seat, because they'll never understand some of the trauma that she's been through in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And then to have that trauma just put out at parties as a party trick.
And to know it's out there. I also want to ask you guys really quickly, one, what do you guys think of the amount? I know that seems a little crass, but some people are bringing up, she wanted 70+ million. It's not about the money, Linz. You think it's more about like a statement. Am I right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it's about, even if she won 1 million, to me it's the fact that you won against the bigger entity. So the bigger entity is some people that have been doing this obviously for years, like taking photos off of the crime scene. Usually when you catch somebody, it's not the first time they've done it. You're just catching them doing it. Right. And so this is just a deterrent for people that are actually going to enforce laws and protect people to just do that and not use somebody else's trauma as a point of, like, I don't even know, are you using it to gain clout, or what are you using it for?
It seemed like, and this is just me speculating, it seems like because a bartender told somebody that they were shown this photo. I'm assuming if a bartender said that, it means that somebody was inebriated, and this was just a thing they did to everybody.
Casually.
So this didn't even come from it would even make it a little bit better, Tori, if somebody inside had said this is wrong, but so many people inside said nothing.
It was the bartender, you're right.
We needed a bartender, and who knows what number bartender, before this had to stop. I mean, Kobe is a beloved figure in LA, and I don't think the LA PD know what a bad look this is. There's a lot of bad press going around. If you guys don't get in front of it, some things are going to change. I mean, people will vote you out.
Yeah, I also think that it's us sometimes that look on Instagram and click when it says this image is going to be offensive, sensitive.
That's what she was worried about, I think.
Right, and we still do that. I'm even guilty of being like, well, what is it? What happened in this police brutality case? And it's just this culture that we've created online to constantly look at what happened because we want to see for ourselves, which is a positive thing to know exactly what's going on. But then also we're living where we kind of like are playing off people's deaths and playing off bad images and things like that.
Absolutely. And I just want to let you guys know the Sheriff's Department also has this long-standing practice of sharing the death images between deputies for sort of no legitimate reason. There's no policy here on how to get rid of them. They're sort of kept for like mementos in some way. So I'd also like to see the Sheriff Department discuss what they're going to be doing now going forward with death photos since this has become so public. All right, it's been 3 months since the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. 3 months, my God, it feels like yesterday. The school district's police chief, who you as a whole, as our DBL Nation, has spoken angrily about, Pete Arredondo, was fired yesterday. He has been criticized for being the officer in charge of the scene and was accused of failing to act, as well as stopping other officers from storming the classroom for more than an hour while the gunman was inside. Here's how some residents reacted in Uvalde.
I absolutely believe that Pete Arredondo was responsible for a lot of the things that went wrong here, but so was DPS, so was the sheriffs, the police. They were walking around like it was a Sunday afternoon with no sense of urgency.
I want to change. Enough is enough, and we need to change the gun laws to 23 so people that are young, they will not have to buy a gun.
Turn in your badge and step down. You don't deserve to wear one.
Arredondo is not at the hearing, but as lawyer said, Chief Arredondo will not participate in his own legal and unconstitutional public lynching. This is a quote, and respectfully request the board immediately reinstate him with all back pay and benefits and close the complaint as unfounded. I also want to bring up the fact, I know your eyebrows are like, what? That he claimed he didn't know that he might be the attending officer. According to the rules, we found out he wrote those rules.
Yeah, he co-authored the school policy that says that he would be the person in charge of this.
You're right. So what do you think, Linz?
Well, also, I just hate when people are using words like public lynching or this is like slavery. It is not at all.
Thank you.
And so you not doing your job has no comparison to those two things. You're not being publicly lynched. You failed to save kids. And then he's asking for credit for the fact that he did save some people. Yes, we thank you that you saved some kids, but you didn't do your job for so long, so many minutes and half an hours and hours that many people died that didn't need to.
Yes.
So don't ask for any more credit. Thank you for doing your job and then get away. You didn't do enough.
I agree with you, Al.
I mean, I was stunned that he asked for his job back. I honestly thought that we would find out that he'd moved to Idaho and like got in a cabin and never shown his face in public.
Right.
But again, it kind of goes back to our first story, Lindsay. What do you do with people that have no shame? If you have no moral compass, it's like, yeah, give him my job back. What, like, you know, I'm being attacked here. The one thing that is kind of scary about this story, and I think everybody should be scared, is the fact that this person did the worst job that you could probably possibly do at any job on any given day.
Yes.
And it still took 3 months. Even though we all knew and we had cameras and videos of how much time elapsed, it still took. So, like, what if you, Lindsay, or you, Tori, wanted to, you know, charge a police officer with doing something wrong, and you didn't have all of those things in the entire country? In 3 months is now, that's the bar. So that's best case scenario. This is why people do not complain about things going on in house, because you don't feel like anything's going to happen. And unless it was like the weight of the nation making this happen, I don't think this guy, and like, he's not a powerful dude. He's not like somebody's son. He's just a guy.
I
and
totally
it took
agree.
This long?
It took forever. I also want to say recently we looked up his background. He was demoted while working on the border for, quote, not getting along with others. Coming up on DBL, Sylvester Stallone and his ex are speaking out about their divorce. Did the marriage really end over the family dog? And California gets closer to banning the sale of gas-powered cars. Will electric vehicles take over sooner than we think? Or they're called EVs. What is that footage?
Yeah, how much smoke is coming out of these cars? Generally, cars don't look like that.
Closed captioning provided by...
I think it is one of those stories we're all going to be like, what? Who raised you?
Why am I right all the time?
Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
Am I going crazy? I was going to say, you know, this guy, 3 months although it's unfortunate, like Al brought up about how long it took, to me that was actually short compared to the year that we've seen cops on administratively when they've done even more, well, not even more, equally egregious things. So, you know, I thought that 3 months was pretty rapid, unfortunately.
You know what I always thought about when you said that? It was like the Ahmaud Arbery, when they had the tapes and they were showing it around, and it was only when the public got the tapes that somehow the moral compass shifted to arrest. How long? It was for I think a year or 7 months or something.
Their lawyer sent it to the other lawyer.
Yeah, like porn, like murder porn.
And we've been seeing a lot of this, like my lawyer accidentally sent something, and to me, I think it just feels like the lawyers are actually having some type of moral compass.
I know you said that before.
Because it doesn't make sense how it's just getting into the wrong person's hand. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even understand how to practice law, but I think that if I was representing somebody who I just knew. Like, I don't know that I could do it. I couldn't even be like a...
You're saying you could be a criminal defense attorney?
Yeah, I couldn't represent somebody that I knew was wrong.
My dad does that, and I think to myself, how do you do that? And he said, because America is based on the fact that every single person gets a right.
But I couldn't be the one to do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And look, everyone should get their chance, because maybe there's parts of the story that aren't true, so maybe you shouldn't get
and they're innocent people
murder, maybe you should get manslaughter, but still, just like, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Did you see the Kim Kardashian-Hillary legal quiz?
Yeah, and she won. Kim won.
They gave Kim Kardashian and Hillary Clinton a legal quiz, and Kim won 11-4.
Yeah, really? And you know, Hillary went to Yale Law School, so this isn't someone who doesn't know. They met Bill together.
Is Hillary a lawyer?
She is a brushed up.
Hillary probably hadn't looked at that.
Yeah, right. But still, good for Kim K.
That's funny though.
Welcome back. California.
Knows how to party.
Knows how to party electrically. They are getting ready to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars, and they're hoping to do it by 2035. It's all part of a transition to clean transportation. It will encourage car companies to sell non-polluting, clean electric cars in that state and across the rest of the country. So let me just be clear, though. No one is coming for your gas car. The rules do not ban the sale of used gas cars, and people who still own a gas car can continue to drive and sell them. So we want to know, do you support a ban on gas-powered vehicles? Go to dblvote.com to let us know. Al, you have children?
Yes.
Family? Are you going to drive these new EVs that Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, is calling electric vehicles?
I do. I drive one. I love it. My car's a hybrid, but yeah, it's my first one, and I love it. It's very refreshing and like relaxing to charge it, and it feels very futuristic.
So you have to charge?
Oh yeah, I have a charge. So like, I mean, honestly, I was kind of on the fence until I drove one. It's a really smooth drive, and I think maybe the hybrid option for a lot of people that are still kind of like myself, grew up with gasoline, is a good way to kind of ease into the transition. But electric is here, because when I was at the dealership, Lindsay, there's a new model, and it doesn't take any gas at all. It's 238 miles to I was about to say to the gallon, to the charge.
I think the word ban is the thing that makes people like, oh my God, like, because you said it's a ban, and name like 10 people that it won't ban and things. People don't want to hear that. Just say, car companies, we're giving you incentives to create more electric vehicles, and then people will actually buy them. Like, make it an incentivized program. Just like what we were trying to do when people were getting the shot for the COVID vaccine. Like, we were like incentivizing it, and that worked in some states. Yeah, that was ridiculous. But I prefer the $100 gift card. But anyway, they were incentivizing it, and versus saying there's a ban on like people who don't get it. You can't come to the grocery store. That's when people started being like, okay, I'm definitely not getting it. It's like that friction that you're creating by bringing up the word ban.
That's a really good call. And by the way, branding what you do is important. And I think Pete Buttigieg, who I think will be a president at some point, knows how to brand well because he's young, he's from that generation. And I agree, had it been like tax credits for electric vehicles.
And there are. So I don't know why they're not touting those. There are significant tax credits in most states for
Huge
having
amounts.
electric vehicles. There are. It really is.
And also, I know there are people that are like diehard muscle car guy. My last car was a muscle car, so I get it. And like, don't look at this as a negative thing. You can keep those cars, and they're going to be worth a ton more.
That's true.
So I mean, obviously, once the market shifts and things aren't as available, like look at it as a positive, because these cars will always be around, and it's going to make their value just shoot up.
And let's take a look. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was going to say the entry point for some of these electric vehicles, specifically like Tesla, is not like super affordable, but over time it is when you think about the gas. But if you're someone who likes, let's say, a foreign car or a luxury vehicle or anything, even you can get a Toyota Prius that's electric. The entry point is not like so cheap that anyone can afford it. So that's been another argument.
And I definitely think Buttigieg is trying to lower that to make it accessible because it's prohibiting a lot of people from getting it. Let's look at your poll results. Do you support a ban? Yes, 29%. No, say 71% of you. Well, interesting. Get ready because it's coming.
I think Lindsay's right. That word ban.
That ban, you're absolutely
people don't like
right.
it.
Yeah, rebrand it. You get money back. That's all right. It's a Granger coming up on DBL. Did a dog end Sylvester Stallone's 25-year marriage? He's telling the real story behind the breakup, so stay tuned.
Darlings.
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, so it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In D.C., the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back. Sylvester Stallone and his soon-to-be ex-wife Jennifer Flavin, they are speaking out about their decision to call it quits. So Jennifer filed for divorce after 25 years of marriage. Imagine that. But soon after, many started speculating it was all over a dog. First, Sly got a tattoo of Jennifer covered up with an image of his canine co-star from Rocky, Butkus. Then some speculated the two were arguing over how to care for Sly's new family dog, Dwight, given that they both live in Florida and LA, but Stallone set the record straight. He told TMZ, quote, we did not end the relationship on such a trivial
That's
argument.
not Sly.
Yeah, that's like Godfather.
Yeah.
We just went in different directions.
There we go.
I have the highest respect for Jennifer. She is an amazing woman. She's the nicest human being I've ever met. Jennifer also released a statement saying she will cherish their more than 30-year relationship and ask for privacy as they move amicably forward. However, court documents obtained by TMZ revealed she's also accusing of being sly and hiding marital assets that could affect the worth of their estate.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Probably. Right? I mean, if you have $400 million and somebody's coming for half, you're like, I only got $310 million. Like, we're not friends anymore. Like, you're now
this was
somebody
hiding during the marriage. How do you feel about that?
I mean, look, if you're doing that your marriage is over already.
Right.
You know, because if you're already starting to stay, and I know people that have gotten divorced and they knew they were getting divorced a couple of years ahead of time, and they told me they stashed a little, hey, pay me in cash, you know? So it's
Cash me outside.
So, I mean, when you got $400 million, Lindsay, come on.
You don't think that's wrong?
I mean, I'm always like side-eyeing the amicably term, amicably, whatever. I'm always like, what? Like you were just ending this thing and so friendly, it's the best.
After 25 years?
Yeah, 30 years. I'm like,
right.
what? So I don't know. I don't really believe that. But I do know that people get dramatic over dogs. I can personally say that when I first started dating Colin, my ex was harassing me about the now bulldog that I have and still mine. Yes. He was telling me, I'm going to bring you to court over the bulldog. And I was like, listen, I'll just wait for the court letter then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. People get like super dramatic about dogs.
This is true. And Al, I think you might remember this Judge Judy, the best one yet. Judge Judy, there were two people fighting over this white poodle. And Judge Judy said, bring in the dog. Bring in the dog. No one say anything, bring in the dog. They bring the dog in. The white poodle goes right up to the gentleman, jumps, licks, and she goes, that's your dog, course dismissed, and left.
Wow.
And he was like, I love you, or whatever, Sparky. And
I think you should give it to the other person if there's like a love. I just had the dog for like a year, and then all of a sudden, when I started dating Colin, this man came out the woodwork saying, I need my dog back.
Well, it's
like,
a bargaining chip for your attention, because as long as you have the dog, he has a reason to contact you. So like that's why, and I'm sure a lot of people kind of have to make a decision like, do I want to be back and forth in court depending on how far they want to take this for 2 years? Do I want to give the dog up? And it, like, unfortunately, people do use living things, dogs, unfortunately the kids, to continue to battle with who they see as their adversary, because it's not always amicable.
Yeah,
you know?
right,
But I do, maybe sometimes they might just be done.
Well,
Sometimes
random. I had friends that drove from San Francisco to Arizona to bring the dog every 6 months to share.
Word.
I thought that was over the top.
I get it.
Wow.
You sometimes need a contract explaining what you're going to do if you do break up.
No,
Yes,
it's
you
a
do.
dog. You got to let somebody keep it.
It's a love of your life. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Every year, the federal government adjusts how much money it gives to Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients. This is called a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and is tied closely to inflation. Some people on social media are claiming that since inflation is rising so much, recipients will see a large increase next year in their monthly payments. Verify viewer Ruby and other viewers reached out to ask if that's true. So let's verify. Is Social Security's cost of living adjustment expected to be higher than average in 2023? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, AARP, and Mary Johnson, a Social Security and Medicare policy analyst with the Senior Citizens League. Annual increases are calculated using the Consumer Price Index, which is based on how much more people are paying for select goods and services. For the last decades, COLA has been around 2% a year, but in the last 2 years, as inflation has been rising, the cost of living adjustment has also gone up. In 2022, it was nearly 6%. The additional money started arriving in January and was the largest annual increase since 1982. The SSA will announce the official 2023 number in October, but our experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could get an additional $160 a month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
This decision by the Biden administration to cancel thousands of dollars in debt for so many people who borrowed for college comes with relief, with skepticism, and with a lot of questions. We turn to these sources for some clarity. How do you take advantage of the program? The Department of Education's website states it will announce further details in the weeks ahead, and that nearly 8 million people will receive it automatically if their relevant income data is in the DOE's system, like for an income-based repayment plan. It's a good idea to keep an eye on mail and email from your loan servicer. Does this apply to current students with loans? Yes, but if they're dependent students, eligibility will be based on parental income rather than their own. How has the cost of college changed over the years? National Center for Education Statistics data reveals the climbing cost of college over the past 50 years. Adjusted to modern dollars, the average price of tuition, fees, room and board at public institutions is up about 230%. The White House cites analysis finding nearly 1/3 of borrowers have debt, but no degree. Do Black borrowers have a bigger debt burden? According to the Education Data Initiative, Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. That's why the NAACP has been among the voices calling for more money towards paying down student debt in the name of racial equity. The White House also announced plans to change monthly payment structure moving forward, update the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and reduce the cost of college overall. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Hey DBL Nation, we make the show for not just my ego, but for you, and your feedback is more important than ever to us, and that's why we've created this short survey. Some of you are already writing me in that you've completed it. We want to thank you and encourage you to keep sending it out. All you have to do is go to dailyblastlive.com/survey, or you see that QR code right on screen, use your camera phone and connect with it. Your opinion actually matters to the show. We hope you'll just take a few minutes, share your thoughts, even if they're small. We want to hear from you. Also, it's Thursday and your deals are here, so get those phones out as well to scan our QR code and get to shopping. Okay. All right, what do you have for us today, Steph?
Hi Tori, hey DBL Nation, I am so excited to show you these deals today. First up, we've got Savvy C genuine 4-carat TW gemstone bracelet.
Whoa.
We have them in 7 styles: sapphire, black spinal, ruby, garnet, blue topaz, amethyst, and citrine.
Oh, I love that.
They're normally $179, but guess what? We've got them for $39, Tori, which saves everyone at home 78%.
How does Morning Save do this?
Now, Tori, how great is this?
Oh boy.
It's the Go Wise USA 12.7 quart deluxe air fryer oven with 10 accessories.
Whoa.
You'll make your leftover pizza taste as good as it did when you got it from the shop. Normally this is $240. We've got it for just $79, saving everyone at home 67%.
I'm making zucchinis in my garden, cut them up, air fry them.
There you go.
Done.
I've got a great bundle here. It's an 18-pack of the good stuff bamboo charcoal air freshener bags.
Oh.
Summer is tons of fun, but it's also pretty sweaty and a bit stinky. So with these, you will fight off the funky smells because they easily absorb smells in and around your home. So normally this pack is $40, Tori.
Okay.
But we've got them for just $19. It's saving everyone 53%, and you get 18 pieces.
Okay.
18 pieces.
Like $1 a piece.
And then Tori, my must-have of the week is the Laura Ashley Volumizing Blowout Dryer Brush.
Nice.
So this is going to simplify your routine by drying and styling your hair at the same time. This is normally $59, and we've got them for just $20, saving everyone 66%.
Brush, hair dryer, made it for $20. What else do you want? Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can even just scan the QR code right on screen. It'll take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Thank you so much, Steph. Okay, I think we have 30 seconds for me. I want to practice my Sylvester Stallone because it was a little Fauci.
Yeah.
So it's more like, yo, Adrian. Hey, Sly.
But why do you still have the
I
recipe?
know, but there's like some, there's a lot of
Do
the end.
it.
It's like, I'm not doing it.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
I don't do a slide. Do you do a slide?
Come on, I don't do anything.
Do every day. We'll see you tomorrow.
That was good.
That was better.
Where hope finds help. Where courage meets conviction. Where makers make fans. We are Tegna, a family of local and national media brands that bring us together, serving the greater good of our communities. Where national know-how backs local business. Be in good company with Tegna.
Am I going crazy? I just love your passion right now.
I'll take it. Oh, yeah. Actually, let me get on it. You just got me all riled out.
So
Who raised you?
This is a win, right, guys? Why am I right all the time?
You're not.
I live my life for Spike. Welcome to another week of Jeff's mustache.
I didn't expect that. I love this segment.
Yes.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year. DBL is all new every day.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Vanessa Bryant wins a $16 million lawsuit over the first responders who shared Kobe's crash photos. Does she feel that justice has finally been served? A Missouri school district brings back corporal punishment, but what do the teachers think about spanking students? California gets closer to banning the sale of gas-powered cars. Will electric vehicles take over sooner than we think? Sylvester Stallone and his ex are speaking out about their divorce. Did the marriage really end over the family dog?
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. So as many of you have heard, and I've been wanting to talk to you about this, Al, so let's get right into it. Vanessa Bryant won her lawsuit yesterday against LA County. The jury awarded her $16 million after first responders leaked and then shared photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband, Kobe Bryant, and their 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, in 2020. So Vanessa posted this photo to Instagram saying, quote, "All for you, I love you, justice for Kobe and Gigi." I can't even imagine what she must be feeling. Now, during the trial, sheriff's deputies admitted showing those photos to bartenders and friends. They also shared the photos with each other while playing video games. Al, what do you think of the verdict? And I just want to add one more bit of context for you. They also were at a big awards gala, the firefighters were, showing them to one another like mementos or water cooler chat.
Right. I mean, what do you do with somebody that has no moral compass? When somebody has no just baseline humanity. To even if I knew somebody that was doing this, I would question myself. So the fact that people are doing this, and there are people that it's so common that it's being passed around. I know we're talking about Kobe, and Kobe, full disclosure, is near and dear to my heart. Like I listen to a lot of his motivations that I try and work as hard as he did, which is impossible, but that's the standard I try and set. But what if it was just like anybody at home? Just think about it. If this was like your mom or your dad who had fallen and you know, their robe had come open as they were dead at the bottom of the stairs, and they were passing around those pictures. The honor that your people carried themselves with, and then that's how they go out, is just some animals passing around that picture. We have to start to question, as I believe we have another story about the police, why are there certain people that are, they cannot be questioned? Presidents can be impeached, people can be indicted, but the cops that mimicked Elijah McClain, who's right down the street in Aurora when he was murdered by the police, when they were mimicking the chokehold they used on a 14-year-old autistic boy, where were what's the sanction? What we just can't touch them because they were able to complete police training? Like, I don't understand. Maybe I need to leave DBL and go do that. It seems like a great gig.
Well, do you think, to Al's point, do you guys think that $16 million is enough to set a precedent where this will not happen again? Should it have been more? And I just want to say, too, because people are only talking about Vanessa Bryant, rightfully so, but also it's very important to know that Chris Chester was the co-plaintiff, and he was the one that lost his wife and his daughter in that crash. And his wife and daughter's photos were also being passed around, because there is a culture, to Al's point, this isn't the first time. Erica, is this enough money, do you think?
I struggle to say if it's enough money because I don't believe it was ever about the money.
Right.
I think it was about sending a message, and the fact that we, obviously we're leading with Kobe and Gigi because they're worldwide and everybody knows them, and many people were affected by their deaths. But we wouldn't even be having this conversation if they weren't the victims of this super egregious act. So when you talk about the culture, or that anyone could be susceptible to their loved ones or themselves having photos of their final or after death, and you said vulnerable, but it's like, what's the word beyond vulnerability to be passed around in this way, and it's such a pedestrian way? It shows you there's a practice for this. So is 60 million enough? I think that, especially in this climate, no one wants to have to pay out that amount of money, but was it ever about the money? No.
So let me ask you this, Jeff, that I think a lot of people online are asking themselves: are we culpable? Meaning, if those photos were to be leaked, and that was another reason why Vanessa Bryant was so worried. She had already known that they were being passed around within that precinct, but what if they were to get leaked and then the whole world and then her other children end up seeing those photos? I can almost answer but would you or other people have clicked on that if TMZ posted it?
Is there a market for it? Yes, there is. There's horrific things online. Soldiers being decapitated, you could find online, right? I just question just people in general at this point. I'm like, where are you from? And could we have a conversation about something? I teared up when I saw Kobe with his daughter, like, in that picture, just like, I don't know, just think about kids. And I don't even know where I was going. But what I was saying, if someone at the bar showed me a picture of like a little kid dismembered, not even Kobe Bryant, I'd be like, where are you from, dude? Right. Why are you showing that to other people? I think it's disgusting. What kind of human are you? And I try to, every day I go to bed, I'm trying to figure out this world, and I can't. I don't understand.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my best friends in the world yesterday. I'll be quick, but he said to me, Al, I just don't know anything consistent to tell my kids anymore. Like, it used to be like invest in basic things and save some money, but it just seems like, because he was telling me that his wife was told that she lost $16,000 out of her 401k. She's a hardworking, regular American. Like, nobody can rely on anything. And I used to be able to rely on the fact that you could go on the internet and not click on it and see a dismembered child. But we can't do that now. So we're going to have to, maybe the internet is just showing us who we are. Yeah. We're going to have to decide as a group, as a species, is this the direction that we want to go? Does anybody seem happy? Is anybody, with all our internet and all our apps, does anybody seem happy? I sure as hell never see them. I don't. I just see a bunch of adults staring at their phones, wondering what the hell is going on, trying to move money around and look at some video on Bitcoin, but everybody is super detached. I don't understand this world. I didn't grow up in this world. I don't see anybody. No one's alive anymore inside.
There is no more lying.
The fact that people could even...
There is no more lying to hurt people. It's like, because someone did something to me and I'm hurt as an individual, I'm going to spew that all over. So if there's pictures of body parts of people that we love and adore and children, it's not anything close to what I went through. Someone yelled at me at the grocery store. So I have the right to say whatever I want.
I hope we got clicks.
We've gone... I don't even know where we're at. I'm fearful for my children.
Speaking of kids, and thank you for being so honest, all of you. And Jeff, your emotion, trust me, we all feel it. Thank you. So it has been 3 months since the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. I can't imagine what those families are going through. And the school district's police chief, Pete Arredondo, was fired yesterday. He has been criticized, we've talked about it on this show, for being the officer in charge of the scene, and was accused of failing to act, as well as stopping other officers from storming the classroom for more than an hour while that gunman was inside. Here's some of the residents' reaction.
I absolutely believe that Pete Arredondo was responsible for a lot of the things that went wrong here, but so was DPS, so was the sheriffs, the police. They were walking around like it was a Sunday afternoon with no sense of urgency.
I want to change. Enough is enough, and we need to change the gun laws to 23 so people that are young, they will not have to buy a gun.
Turn in your badge and step down. You don't deserve to wear one.
Chills. young girl having to say that. Arredondo was not at the hearing, but his lawyer said Chief Arredondo will not participate in his own legal and unconstitutional public lynching and respectfully requests the board immediately reinstate him with all back pay and benefits and close the complaint as unfounded. Wow.
Again, can I kick it off just saying I don't know where we are?
Right.
If you're a school bus driver and you drive the school bus off a cliff and everybody dies and you survive, are you going to drive the bus next week? No, you're not doing your job.
And get benefits.
Where do we live? You signed up to go protect those children and you put hand sanitizer on. You didn't do anything. What is the fight back? We can't all agree on anything, but aren't there some things we could say, are you out of your mind?
Erica, I really do want to hear from you, but I feel like we've lost civility, and I feel like we're trying to, go after people with just humanity that it's not inside him. The person that will respond like that, you saying, hey, my kid died, he's like, yeah, but I want my benefits back. So how do you deal with that person? Do you sue him too? Is that just where we are?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where we are. When you talk about all of you guys are parents and you're thinking about your child, I'm thinking about possibly bringing a child into this world, and how that is actually a choice for me to make.
How are you feeling about that?
It freaks me out. If I'm not naturally, which I'm not biologically able to become a mom naturally, so I have to make a decision and put my body through a lot of things in order to bring this miracle into this chaos. It makes me not want to. It makes me want to just be like, this is what God intended for me not to have to worry about a heartbeat outside of myself because my heart hurts so bad. And it's just me. So I look at this and it's I always think about the straw. Everyone's like, oh, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. And our straws are like major vacuums of suction of humanity. Our straws are going in and listening to countless children being gunned down while you sit back and do nothing. And now we have a conversation about your stinking pension. This man has an opportunity to go and make money and have a whole nother career if he chose to do that. But these families are forever broken. And this is what we're talking about. This dude who literally should just disappear from the face of the earth. Because I guarantee you that if the straw was this big to finally have him fired, what was all of the little things? The little things.
Right. Wow. Well, great conversation. We will be right back.
Closed captioning provided by...
Am I going crazy?
So
Who raised you?
Why am I right all the time?
You're not.
Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year.
We remember.
We always do.
Spanking
story coming up next.
Yeah.
It seems like it was parent-driven. The parents really wanted to bring corporal punishment back.
Yeah.
And parents at the school district have to opt in or opt out.
Could we explain exactly what that means? Corporal punishment?
We're just saying spanking.
Okay.
Spanking.
Because corporal punishment sounds like a lot.
Right.
Doesn't it?
Physical punishment.
Okay.
Spanking,
So that's
paddling.
Paddling, the ruler.
Yeah.
What they used to do back in the day, and I thought was gone forever long ago, but
That's what I
Like an army punishment.
Marine, upside down, waterborne.
So to go back and address I didn't know it was going to go like that, right? Sometimes it just gets emotional.
What did I
here,
miss?
and
that was my first
today's
thought
one
on
of those days.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. I'm still a little emotional. I don't know why. Is my wife
Because you
pregnant?
envisioned you in his shoes.
I know, but
That's
sometimes,
empathy.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's weird. I don't know. Sometimes it just goes that way.
Yeah, it took me a while to get over.
I just
When I saw that picture,
Yeah, just the family aspect of his daughter, which is
the
like...
photo, you know what the photo was too. I don't want to say it out loud. Just imagine the worst case scenario. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I don't even.
I don't want to even tell you.
But so I can only imagine being Vanessa, knowing that those photos are around, and let's say they weren't public. So for her, it's twofold. One, it feels like a robbery of her own trauma. Like, don't you dare giggle and pass around or be in awe or whatever it may be.
Or
profit from those photos. And then, on the other side of that, what if those photos get out and my other children have to see that image?
Right.
All right.
Like further re-victimizing. Really controversial discussion. Okay, we're going to dive into it. How do you feel about your kids or your grandkids getting spanked for bad behavior? Here's another side to it. What about at school? Well, a school district in rural Missouri was having behavioral issues with its students. After suggestions from the parents, the district decided to bring back spanking as a punishment of last resort. But parents would have to provide the school with written permission to do it. Parents in the area have reportedly thanked the superintendent for bringing back the punishment. Perfect person to talk to. You are a former teacher. We don't even know how the teachers feel if the teacher wants to pick up a paddle and hit one of their students. As a former teacher and as a parent to 3, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's unconscionable that somebody would take my child into a room, somebody that is a stranger. I don't care what is on their desk, assistant, vice, whatever, superintendent. I don't care who you are.
Look at Erica's face.
You're putting your hands on my child. That, I mean, eye for an eye. Like, there's nothing in the world that's going to hold me back from doing the exact same thing to you. There's not enough jail bars, there's not enough handcuffs. If you put your hands on my kids at school, first of all, what adult would accept the responsibility to take somebody in the back room and take their pants down? What adult would do that? What adult do you know would do that?
Well, the parents would.
They have to, right? They'd have to, yeah.
But
obviously.
okay, but go ahead, Erica.
So the parent. Okay, so essentially, let me just fix it for you. Okay. So in this particular school, a bunch of parents decided that they want someone who's essentially a stranger, just graduated from college and got a teaching degree, to take their child and touch their bottom. That's what it is. That's the headline. Parents at this school think it's acceptable and feel like it's needed for someone who's a stranger to take their child separately and touch their bottom.
In an aggressive way.
Yeah, and you don't know who the person is, their strength factor, if they have
Who cares if you know who they are?
No, I'm just saying, every person's one person's smack is different than another person's smack. One person could be racist. One person could have prejudices. One person could think that's the last straw when another one has more tolerance. It's a slippery slope, my friend.
It's a cliff. It's not even a slope. What are you? You're taking my kid. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, you brought Colorado, Jeff. Did you know that? We are allowed, it's state by state, corporal punishment.
I don't think I didn't sign up for that. That wasn't offered to me.
You better read the
That wasn't offered to me. My mom still talks about like going to Catholic school. You know, she's in her 70s now and getting whacked. And she's still like, I still remember those nuns. Could you imagine like in school getting your pants taken down and beaten with a pad? What does that do to you for the rest of your life?
It teaches you to hit. We know, we have data. Here's the thing. I get it. Everyone's, you know, as a parent, you're going to do your own thing based on perhaps the way you were raised. We do have decades of data now that show if you're hit, boys biologically will act outward with aggression, girls will act inward. And they've seen that the girls acting inward, that can result in a loss of control. So then they regain control in other ways, like an eating disorder. So we have data now that shows us that that's not the greatest form of punishment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I hope that we do a follow-up story to this next week that this is over, because this is
advocating?
I want to know I would like to know. I would like to know the positives. We're all on one side. And I always want to see what are you signing up for that you think your child is going to benefit from. I just would like to have a conversation. But what do you think is going to happen?
Well, at that point, if you're saying, okay, it's fine to spank my child, then I'm pretty sure that therapy or, I don't know, some type of correction in why this child is acting out the way that they're acting out, that you believe spanking is the final resort, those things might not have been explored.
Right. We'll be right back.
darlings.
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In DC, the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back. So California is getting ready to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars, and they're hoping to do it by 2035. It's all part of a transition to clean transportation. It will encourage car companies to sell non-polluting, clean electric cars in that state and across the rest of the country. So let me just be clear, though. No one is coming for your gas car, okay? The rules do not ban the sale of used cars, and people who still own a gas car can continue to drive them, can continue to sell them. But we do always want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you support a ban on gas-powered vehicles? Go to dblvote.com to let us know. Erica, what would you say?
I mean, in theory, it sounds like a good idea, but are we even well equipped to provide non-gas vehicles, especially on a mass level? I feel like this is kind of a hierarchical conversation because, as we know, not everyone is going to be able to afford that. What does that mean for people who need to be reliant on gas cars? What does that mean for things like gas stations? What does it mean for the disposal and transportation of these said gas cars, or electric cars? I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you say the word ban, it scares people, right? And it gets them aggressive. Even when you're like, ban, well, I'm going to do the opposite now. You know what I mean? I'm going to go get myself a snowmobile or whatever. But I mean, I want to lean towards, a greener planet, right? Everyone wants to do their part. But I also want an electric car. Imagine not stopping for gas ever again. Yeah. So I'm driving until the wheels fall off of my gas car. Maybe I'm going to look into it.
I just wonder how affordable it will be. I think, to Erica's point, I think it's a wonderful idea, but a lot of people, our first cars were used cars from like a decade before or more.
Well, how long have Priuses been around?
But sustainable, too. Do we have what it takes to, if everyone wanted a green car right now? I don't know if we have the parts or minerals to support that.
They're giving us 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Right?
15 years is not a long time.
Just blink and you're there. Right?
Yeah.
Now, it does cost $15 to charge an electric car as opposed to filling up your gas tank, depending on gas prices, $75, $100 if you drive an SUV. What do you think?
I mean, I full disclosure, I have a hybrid now, but I had a muscle car before this, so I lived in both worlds, and everybody knows I love my gas cars. And good news, anybody that has a gas car, don't worry, it's going to go up, because after 2035, when those cars aren't being made as much, look at it as a positive. Your car is going to be worth a lot more.
And 80% of you say no. Do you support a ban? Nope. No, you don't. We'll be right back.
Nobody likes a ban.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In DC, the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Hey, DBL Nation. So we make this show for you, whether you believe it or not, and your feedback is more important to us than ever. So we created a short survey. Complete it, please. Simply go to dailybuslive.com/survey or scan the QR code on the screen with your camera phone. We hope you'll just take a few minutes to share your thoughts because we really want to hear from you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailybuslive.com, or our app. But if you get the second half of the show where you are, here is what's ahead. He's had countless roles in so many classics like Office Space and Talladega Nights. Actor Gary Cole will be here live to tell us about his latest character on NCIS. And did a dog end Sylvester Stallone's 25-year marriage? He's telling the real story behind the breakup. Stay with us.
It was this tweet from Piedmont Natural Gas that says 90% of energy used by washing machines goes to heat the water. So our question is, can you save more money by switching that water to cold? Let's verify.
Our source is Piedmont Natural Gas and Energy Star, a government program that promotes energy efficiency. Almost everything is going up in cost, including your energy bill.
You know, we're aware that energy costs are going up these days, along with costs for a lot of things.
With inflation hitting people's pocketbooks, there are ways to save, and that starts at home.
And this is an easy way, to kind of get a little of that money back.
According to Piedmont Natural Gas, a family of 3 can spend between $338 and $380 every year heating their water, depending on whether they use electricity or natural gas.
Wash your clothes in cold water and save yourself some energy and some money.
Energy Star says heating up water consumes about 90% of the energy it takes to operate a washing machine, and switching the temperature setting, even from hot to warm, can cut energy use in half. Cold water reduces energy even more.
With these appliances being so energy efficient these days, it really is about kind of monitoring your own usage. Things that you can do that will help reduce that energy usage even further.
So we can verify that yes, washing your clothes in cold water can save on energy and in turn save you some money. With your Verified, I'm Megan Bragg.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. So we got Sly Stallone again for the 3rd day in a row, but this time I feel like we might be able to clear up some of the controversy.
If not, we'll do it again tomorrow. Till you guys learn your lesson out there.
Exactly. So we do have some new information. Sylvester Stallone and his soon-to-be ex-wife Jennifer Flavin are now speaking out. Jennifer filed for divorce after 25 years of marriage, but soon after, many speculated it was all over a dog. Sly recently got a tattoo of Jennifer covered up with an image of his K9 co-star from Rocky, also his real dog at the time. But some speculated that the two were arguing over how to care for Sly's new dog, Dwight. But Sly set the record straight. He told TMZ, quote, "We did not end the relationship on such a trivial argument. We just went in different directions. I have the highest respect for Jennifer. She's an amazing woman. She's the nicest human being I have ever met." Jennifer also released a statement saying she will cherish the relationship. However, as we mentioned, there are court docs showing she is also accusing her ex of hiding marital assets that could affect the worth of their estate. Maybe that's the attorney's move, though. I want to try and give him the benefit of the doubt, but maybe I shouldn't. What do you think?
I think he's got a lot of respect for his wife after he covered her face with a dog.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just jumping on board this story. I'm over it. We have Bravo now. We have some real get in the dirt relationship crisis. I really don't care about Sylvester Stallone, and I don't even know his wife's name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry I don't.
Jennifer Flavin.
3 days in a row. I'm sorry. I wish you guys well. You have 3 kids. They're grown. Make it amicable and let's move on, Rock. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Erica, what do you think?
I don't know why we're so like divorce. Like it's weird. It's weird. It makes people think that they should be marriage martyrs. Like, I think people get divorced. It happens. You know, like I don't know what else to say about
Let's wish them the best.
Right.
And move on.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to leave
There
it
we
there.
go.
So speaking of celebrity exes, though, Olivia Wilde is speaking out about being served custody papers. We covered this on the show by her ex on stage while giving a presentation about her new film back in April.
She could have just said it's tickets to the Yankees, and then like no one would have known.
Pretended.
Yeah.
Speaking to Variety, Olivia called the move by her ex, Jason Sudeikis, quote, vicious, adding he was trying to sabotage her. She said she wasn't surprised by his actions, saying there was a reason she left the relationship. Now, at the time, Jason said he had no idea how she would be served that way and called it inappropriate. Who do you believe, Erica?
I don't know. People have a lot of like, I mean, I understand, you know, you commit to a relationship, something goes wrong, y'all break up, and there's some bitterness, but it's also a path to freedom, and I need people to like get on that train, because if somebody don't want to be with you, or they don't mess with you the way they used to mess with you, that's like a perfect invitation to like just on that so that the stuff that's supposed to be for you can come in. Now, I have one divorce under my belt, and I say one and final only, because we're going to have to ride this until the end of our days, no matter what happens. But I do understand that. Like, people want to hold on to the past so much that I wouldn't put it past anyone to serve someone publicly like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that she should have expected it. I'm not saying that he should have done it. I think it's a bigger commentary on human beings that at the end of our relationship, it almost seems like the stuff in the middle didn't count at all.
I know.
Like, we did have, if you're together 25 years like Stallone, which you're done talking about, you know, like, will you never go, hey, I'm not going to try and destroy this person. I'm going to get what's fair. I helped contribute to this household. Jennifer Flavin is never going to work again. You know, and Jason Sudeikis and his ex will never worry about money again. But to do something to publicly humiliate them on the way out, I feel like it just takes away from everything. And I don't understand why it's such a thing where, like,
that's an American issue. You go to other countries, watch divorce court. You go to other countries.
Go to other countries to watch divorce court?
No, you watch divorce court about our country's divorce system and how the attorneys flood the media, flood different requests and affidavits in order to get money. They don't care how much conflict, how much pain is resurrected in the process, because other countries, they will have a real mediator that's paid for by that country to try to work things out amicably. That is their goal. That's where a lot of their taxpayer money goes to in situations like that. Here, it's all about capitalism.
Right.
They find out how much money is in your bank account. They go, oh, Al, how much money is in your bank account? And then they go over here and they go, okay, great. We got about 2 years to bleed him dry.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just really quick, I know we have to move, but I got divorced in LA. My ex-wife and I are so cool. We use the same lawyer. Like, I just got it. Like, we're friends, you know, and we still, it was almost impossible. They make you wait. Yep. They're sending things back like, are you sure? Jeff said that he wants, you know, he's going to take the spare tire in the other car. Are you cool with that? So they're just trying to drag it out, even when people are like I'm giving her and her new guy money for their bachelor and bachelorette party. Like, we're friends, and we still couldn't get divorced.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Exactly. Okay, so let's move on. Jason Sudeikis may play soccer.
I feel like we glossed over the bachelor and bachelorette party. We just glossed over that bachelor and bachelorette party. You're paying for their bachelor and bachelorette party?
Give them a little money to go gamble. They're going to be in Vegas. Have fun, kids. Yeah, I'm not giving them the whole thing. That's the mother of my children.
I love it. That is a good example. Okay, so we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is everywhere, and I'm so glad we're talking about it because it's important.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
So Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Garcelle Beauvais says her son is being viciously attacked online. It all has to do with an ongoing feud, by the way, with co-star Lisa Rinna and other castmates. But instead of attacking Garcelle, some people have actually come, lots of people, let's be real, lots of grown adults have come for her 14-year-old son, Jax, who has appeared on the show. Garcelle reposted a message from Jax saying his Instagram account is being spammed with racist and crude comments about him and his family. He added that he is not involved with the show and just wants to be a normal kid. Garcelle posted this message to fans asking them to leave our kids alone. Bravo also released a statement urging viewers and social media followers to refrain from targeting their cast and their families with harmful rhetoric. And Erica, before you jump in here, his post, he's 14 years old, he said, I should just be able to go to my first day of high school and enjoy it. But instead, I'm dealing with like really racist, horrific comments on my social media.
Yeah, this is a child. Yeah. He happened to be in a scene. He's never been featured, but he was in a scene. And one of her castmates, Erica Jane, told him to get the bleep out of here and repeated it. And it was very aggressive and not the way that an adult should be speaking to a child under any circumstances. I think that what we're dealing with at the core of this issue, because there have been other issues, is that young black boys are adultified. And the idea that you would have so many people coming after this 14-year-old child in this way. One of the posts read, you better be glad that your daddy's white, otherwise you'd have a knee on your neck. He's 14. Wow. And the fact that the network was so slow to address this, and not just Bravo, there are a lot of other networks that have had people who have appeared on them become for, they're their children have been come for, and there needs to be a line in the sand. Like, I consider reality shows a spectator sport, but I am not going to aggressively come after people because they said something or did something I don't like for their children. Like, they're not even a part of the show.
Yeah. It's the same question. Are we going to be humans or are we not? That's every story we're covering.
Right.
It's the same question.
Yep.
And we have to answer that as a group, and we'll see.
Erica, thank you for providing that context. Coming up on DBL, you know him from so many movies like Office Space and Talladega Nights.
Wow.
Just to name a few. You guys, there's Gary Cole.
Yeah.
He's right there. Yep, we're going to talk to him next.
It's amazing.
DBL is all new every day.
Okay, so our next guest, Gary Cole, I'm super excited about. You might not know the name, which is, I think it's fantastic. If I go back and have any career in Hollywood, I'd have this guy's career. He's in everything that I watch. He's in classic movies. He has classic lines. He does everything in his business. But if you saw him in a grocery store, you'd be like, I know that guy, but I don't know his name. His name's Gary Cole. He's fantastic. I'm so excited about this interview.
It would be difficult if you watch any kind of cable movie to like say I've never seen him before.
For sure.
I'm such a fan. Like you said, you're
Chicago guy too.
Oh,
yeah.
Shout out to the Chi-Town.
I think he started at Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago. Yeah, I think so.
Chicago really doesn't get.
He
the
did,
props
right?
it
Yeah.
It should for like improv and theater. So many. I feel like Chicago's like the perfect breeding ground. It's got good stand-up.
They got Second City there?
Yeah, so it's a Cincy started. You know, Hannibal, Chicago, Camille Nanjiani, Chicago, like all like those guys. All
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all out of Chicago. So yeah, it's a good city. I always tell people like comics. I was like New York or LA. I'm like sometimes if somebody's got the personality, like Chicago might be the move because you can do a ton of shows.
All right, so yeah, I'm very excited. Stay tuned for this.
So he read it in the script and kind of.
Welcome back. You know our next guest as the horrible boss in Office Space and the estranged father in Talladega Nights. Now he is the new leader of the NCIS team, Gary Cole. Welcome.
Yeah. Gary, what is up, man? We've been waiting for you. We're happy you're here on DBL, and we got to get right to it. Obviously, we're going to get to your new show, but I got to ask you, what was it like to work with Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights? And, like, was it as fun as everybody would think it would be?
I would say that if I had to pick the most fun I had in front of a camera, that would be on top of the list. Yeah.
Wow.
Any favorite scenes?
Well, the cougar is, I have an affinity for the cougar in the car. And I also enjoyed I think it's the first time the two characters actually meet after, he was a child in some dingy motel room. But Will is fantastic. He was just, I was always on my toes because you never knew what was coming.
That's what's up.
Gary, so happy you're here. I got to tell you, before I go to bed, I watch Veep, I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Entourage, and Arrested Development. You're in 3 of the 4 of those, Gary. So I see you every time I go to. But let's talk Curb because it's one of my favorites. You play the owner of the Dodgers, and you punch Larry David in the face. How did you get to be on that show, Gary? And are you a fan yourself?
Yeah, maybe that's not a select club. People that punch Larry. I just wound up there. I got a phone call, and I think that usually even people that, that are known have to go through some process of reading. I think somehow I bypassed that. I don't know, but I think that was a mistake. I think when I got there, they thought maybe I had, prepared more than I did, but it was daunting because I wasn't used to, I don't come from any kind of sketch training or anything like that. And there's absolutely no script at all.
Right.
Wow. Very detailed dialogue or very detailed outline, but that's it. The dialogue just comes as it goes. But it's one of my favorite shows as well, so I had a great time.
I love it.
That's awesome. All right, Gary, let's talk about NCIS because you joined during season 19 and the writers included an Office Space reference. Let's take a look real quick.
What I'd give to never have to file another TPS report.
You do know that's a TBS report, right? Trans-Bureau Synopsis.
What'd I say?
A TPS report.
Ah, old habits. Weird.
How did it make you feel when this little nugget was included in NCIS?
Well, when the writers came to me, I said, what do you think of this? I said, I'm all in because, that movie's been kind to me. It's kept me on the radar for the last 25 years. So I did have to add the coffee cup at the end to make sure everyone knew what we were talking about there. So, but yeah, I thought it worked well. We brought it up, we threw it away, and that was it.
Just that still image makes me laugh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the 20th season premiere episode of NCIS is a crossover with NCIS Hawaii. Did you get to hang out with the Hawaii cast outside of work? Do you guys all get along? Tell us.
I never made it to Hawaii myself. Wilmer and Katrina from our cast were the ones that actually made a couple of trips there. One earlier last season, and then for this. So anything that I appeared in that was supposed to be Hawaii, spoiler alert, it was in Southern California.
So, Gary, NCIS is one of the most watched TV shows ever, and you're in everything. But what was it like being part of the show that's going into its 20th season?
Well, we're in rarefied territory here. This show is only in company with Gunsmoke from another era, and Law and Order SVU. So it's pretty extraordinary that something has been on this long. So that fact is just, it's a great place to go. Some of the people on this crew have been working there over 20 years because this show also kind of spun off from another show called JAG, which a lot of the crew members were working on before NCIS ever premiered.
Gary, what a privilege. Congratulations with your career with NCIS. Thank you for joining us.
I got 1,000 more questions for next time.
Please come back, please. To our viewers, make sure to watch the 20th season premiere of NCIS. It's on Monday, September 19th on CBS, of course. We'll be right back.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify what do we know about how many people are contagious right now. Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In DC, the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Ear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Happy Thursday. Your deals are here, so get those phones out to scan our QR code and get to shopping. All right, what do you have for us today, Steph?
Hi, Tori. Hey, DBL Nation. I am so excited to show you these deals today. First up, we've got Savvy C genuine 4-carat TW gemstone bracelet.
Whoa.
I know. So this deal includes one bracelet. Look, these are so chic. We have them in 7 styles: sapphire, black spinal, ruby, garnet, blue topaz, amethyst, and citrine.
Oh, I love that.
They're normally $179, and for this craftsmanship, I can see why.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not a bad price for that.
But guess what? We got them for $39, Tori, which saves everyone at home 78%.
How does Morning Save do this?
I don't know, but
fabulous.
And they look incredible, so chic. They look very expensive.
I'm gonna get the citrine and the garnet for my birthstone and money.
Now, Tori, how great is this?
Oh boy.
It's the Go Wise USA 12.7 quart deluxe air fryer oven with 10 accessories.
Whoa.
So this deal includes 1 air fryer oven, a recipe book, and 10 accessories. Now we've got 3 colors. We've got black, red, and white. Kind of like the red.
I do
know.
too.
And with this, you'll make your leftover pizza taste as good as it did when you got it from the shop. So normally this is $240. It's expensive, but Tori, this is a real piece of technology.
It's like an oven, yeah.
Absolutely, but guess what, Tori?
What?
We've got it for just $79, saving everyone at home 67%.
That's a great amount of saving.
This is a great saving, and it's a great addition if you're trying to lose weight, if you want to be healthy, you've got a kid going off to college.
Totally.
This is honestly a must-have item.
And I'm making zucchinis in my garden, cut them up, air fry them.
There you go.
Done.
Absolutely. All right, now look at this, Tori. We've got a great bundle here. It's an 18-pack of the good stuff, bamboo charcoal air freshener bags.
Oh.
So this deal includes 8 medium bags, 8 large bags, and 2 small bags. So let's be honest, summer is tons of fun, but it's also pretty sweaty and a bit stinky. So with these, you will fight off the funky smells because they easily absorb smells in and around your home, whether it's your gym shoes or in your closet.
Nice.
And harsh deodorizers are not good. They're made from chemicals, and while these bags are just as effective, they are non-toxic and they will last longer than store-bought air fresheners. So normally this pack is $40, Tori.
Okay.
But we've got them for just $19. It's saving everyone 53%, and you get 18 pieces.
Okay.
18 pieces.
Like $1 a piece.
Oh, it's amazing.
Unbelievable.
And then Tori, you and I love our hair and beauty products, and
Yes, we
this is
do.
a great item. My must-have of the week is the Laura Ashley Volumizing Blowout Dryer Brush.
Nice.
So we all love going to the salon and getting a blowout, but the price is insane, and this is going to simplify your routine by drying and styling your hair at the same time. So these combination bristles will provide gentle and tangle-free use with 3 temperature settings, a comfortable handle grip, and a 6-foot rotating swivel cord. This is normally $59, and we've got them for just $20, saving everyone 66%.
You
Now,
guys.
if you want big, voluminous hair, and it's so much easier to dry with one of these. I cannot emphasize it enough. I'm a big fan.
Me too.
Go
It's
check
like
it out.
brush, hair dryer, made it for $20. What else do you want? Head on
Exactly.
over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, I'm telling you, or you can even just scan the QR code right on screen. It'll take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website, and you will feel like a technological warrior. Thank you so much, Steph. This is good stuff. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Every year, the federal government adjusts how much money it gives to Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients. This is called a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and is tied closely to inflation. Some people on social media are claiming that since inflation is rising so much, recipients will see a large increase next year in their monthly payments. Verify viewer Ruby and other viewers reached out to ask if that's true. So let's verify. Is Social Security's cost of living adjustment expected to be higher than average in 2023? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, AARP, and Mary Johnson, a Social Security and Medicare policy analyst with the Senior Citizens League. Annual increases are calculated using the Consumer Price Index, which is based on how much more people are paying for select goods and services. For the last decades, COLA has been around 2% a year, but in the last 2 years, as inflation has been rising, the cost of living adjustment has also gone up. In 2022, it was nearly 6%. The additional money started arriving in January and was the largest annual increase since 1982. The SSA will announce the official 2023 number in October, but our experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could get an additional $160 a month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
This decision by the Biden administration to cancel thousands of dollars in debt for so many people who borrowed for college comes with relief, with skepticism, and with a lot of questions. We turn to these sources for some clarity. How do you take advantage of the program? The Department of Education's website states it will announce further details in the weeks ahead, and that nearly 8 million people will receive it automatically if their relevant income data is in the DOE's system, like for an income-based repayment plan. It's a good idea to keep an eye on mail and email from your loan servicer. Does this apply to current students with loans? Yes, but if they're dependent students, eligibility will be based on parental income rather than their own. How has the cost of college changed over the years? National Center for Education Statistics data reveals the climbing cost of college over the past 50 years. Adjusted to modern dollars, the average price of tuition, fees, room and board at public institutions is up about 230%. The White House cites analysis finding nearly 1/3 of borrowers have debt, but no degree. Do Black borrowers have a bigger debt burden? According to the Education Data Initiative, Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. That's why the NAACP has been among the voices calling for more money towards paying down student debt in the name of racial equity. The White House also announced plans to change monthly payment structure moving forward, update the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and reduce the cost of college overall. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this, you guys. We have a first look at the new live-action Pinocchio movie starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Take a look.
Hello, Pops.
Jumping jeepers. An almost real boy. Turn around. Let me get a look at you. I will be right here when you get back.
Pinocchio is running around loose without a conscience.
Oh my gosh, Cynthia Erivo also stars as the Blue Fairy. What are you guys feeling, Erica?
So, first of all, if you don't follow Cynthia Erivo on social media, you have to. It's like following magic. There's like magic. I feel like there's twinkles coming all around her.
So perfectly cast.
Yes.
Perfectly cast. Were you guys Pinocchio fans growing up?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I just got a first glimpse of something I'm going to watch 800 more times.
Yeah, you guys are hitting right at that.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I never got Pinocchio.
Never?
No.
Well,
What about
Pinocchio.
you?
I'm gonna watch Pinocchio because I had Pinocchio PTSD. I told you about the fire scene.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a fire
explain.
scene. Well, I was in a burning building and I ripped out all of my fire things in Pinocchio. So I have to watch it to get over it.
You do. That's like a therapy thing that you have to do. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.
where hope finds help, where courage meets conviction, where makers make fans. We are Tegna, a family of local and national media brands that bring us together, serving the greater good of our communities, where national know-how backs local business. Be in good company with Tegna.
Am I going crazy? I just love your passion right now.
I'll take it.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, let me get on it. You just got me all riled up.
So
Who raised
Yes.
you?
This is a win, right, guys? Why am I right all the time?
You're not
I live my life for Spike. Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
I didn't expect that. I love this segment.
Yes.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year. DBL is all new every day.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Vanessa Bryant wins a $16 million lawsuit over the first responders who shared Kobe's crash photos. Does she feel that justice has finally been served? A Missouri school district brings back corporal punishment, but what do the teachers think about spanking students? California gets closer to banning the sale of gas-powered cars. Will electric vehicles take over sooner than we think? Sylvester Stallone and his ex are speaking out about their divorce. Did the marriage really end over the family dog? Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. So as many of you have heard, and I've been wanting to talk to you about this, Al, so let's get right into it. Vanessa Bryant won her lawsuit yesterday against LA County. The jury awarded her $16 million after first responders leaked and then shared photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband, Kobe Bryant, and their 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, in 2020. So Vanessa posted this photo to Instagram saying, quote, "All for you, I love you, justice for Kobe and Gigi." I can't even imagine what she must be feeling. Now, during the trial, sheriff's deputies admitted showing those photos to bartenders and friends. They also shared the photos with each other while playing video games. Al, what do you think of the verdict? And I just want to add one more bit of context for you. They also were at a big awards gala, the firefighters were, showing them to one another like mementos or water cooler chat.
Right. I mean, what do you do with somebody that has no moral compass? When somebody has no just baseline humanity. To even if I knew somebody that was doing this, I would question myself. So the fact that people are doing this, and there are people that it's so common that it's being passed around. I know we're talking about Kobe, and Kobe, full disclosure, is near and dear to my heart. Like I listen to a lot of his motivations, that I try and work as hard as he did, which is impossible, but that's the standard I try and set. But what if it was just like anybody at home? Just think about it. If this was like your mom or your dad who had fallen, and you know, their robe had come open as they were dead at the bottom of the stairs, and they were passing around those pictures. The honor that your people carried themselves with, and then that's how they go out, is just some animals passing around that picture. we have to start to question, as I believe we have another story about the police, why are there certain people that are, they cannot be questioned? Presidents can be impeached, people can be indicted, but the cops that mimicked Elijah McClain, who's right down the street in Aurora when he was murdered by the police, when they were mimicking the chokehold they used on a 14-year-old autistic boy, where were what's the sanction? What we just can't touch them because they were able to complete police training? Like, I don't understand. Maybe I need to leave DBL and go do that. It seems like a great gig.
Well, do you think, to Al's point, do you guys think that $16 million is enough to set a precedent where this will not happen again? Should it have been more? And I just want to say, too, because people are only talking about Vanessa Bryant, rightfully so, but also it's very important to know that Chris Chester was the co-plaintiff, and he was the one that lost his wife and his daughter in that crash. And his wife and daughter's photos were also being passed around, because there is a culture, to Al's point, this isn't the first time. Erica, is this enough money, do you think?
I struggle to say if it's enough money, because I don't believe it was ever about the money.
Right.
I think it was about sending a message, and the fact that obviously we're leading with Kobe and Gigi because they're worldwide and everybody knows them, and many people were affected by their deaths. But we wouldn't even be having this conversation if they weren't the victims of this super egregious act. So when you talk about the culture, or that anyone could be susceptible to their loved ones or themselves having photos of their final or after death, and you said vulnerable, but it's like, what's the word beyond vulnerability to be passed around in this way, and it's such a pedestrian way? It shows you there's a practice for this. So is $60 million enough? I think that, especially in this climate, no one wants to have to pay out that amount of money, but was it ever about the money? No.
So let me ask you this, Jeff, that I think a lot of people online are asking themselves: are we culpable? Meaning, if those photos were to be leaked, and that was another reason why Vanessa Bryant was so worried. She had already known that they were being passed around within that precinct, but what if they were to get leaked and then the whole world and then her other children end up seeing those photos? I can almost answer but would you or other people have clicked on that if TMZ posted?
Is there a market for it? Yes, there is. There's horrific things online. Soldiers being decapitated, you could find online, right? I just question just people in general at this point. I'm like, where are you from? And could we have a conversation about something? I teared up when I saw Kobe with his daughter, like, in that picture, just like, I don't know, just think about kids. And I don't even know where I was going. But what I was saying, if someone at the bar showed me a picture of like a little kid dismembered, not even Kobe Bryant, I'd be like, where are you from, dude? Right. Why are you showing that to other people? I think it's disgusting. What kind of human are you? And I try to, every day I go to bed, I'm trying to figure out this world, and I can't. I don't understand.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my best friends in the world yesterday. I'll be quick, but he said to me, Al, I just don't know anything consistent to tell my kids anymore. Like, it used to be like invest in basic things and save some money, but it just seems like, because he was telling me that his wife was told that she lost $16,000 out of her 401k. She's a hardworking, regular American. Like, nobody can rely on anything. And I used to be able to rely on the fact that you could go on the internet and not click on it and see a dismembered child but we can't do that now. So we're going to have to, maybe the internet is just showing us who we are. Yeah. We're going to have to decide as a group, as a species, is this the direction that we want to go? Does anybody seem happy? Is anybody, with all our internet and all our apps, does anybody seem happy? I sure as hell never see them. I don't. I just see a bunch of adults staring at their phones, wondering what the hell is going on, trying to move money around and look at some video on Bitcoin, but everybody is super detached. I don't understand this world. I didn't grow up in this world. I don't see anybody. No one's alive anymore inside.
There is no more lying.
The fact that people could even...
There is no more lying to hurt people. It's like, because someone did something to me and I'm hurt as an individual, I'm going to spew that all over. So if there's pictures of body parts of people that we love and adore and children, it's not anything close to what I went through. Someone yelled at me at the grocery store. So I have the right to say whatever I want.
I hope we got clicks.
We've gone way, like, I don't even know where we're at. I'm fearful for my children.
Speaking of kids, and thank you for being so honest, all of you. And Jeff, your emotion, trust me, we all feel it. Thank you. So it has been 3 months since the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. I can't imagine what those families are going through. And the school district's police chief, Pete Arredondo, was fired yesterday. He has been criticized, we've talked about it on this show, for being the officer in charge of the scene and was accused of failing to act, as well as stopping other officers from storming the classroom for more than an hour while that gunman was inside. Here's some of the residents' reaction.
I absolutely believe that Pete Arredondo was responsible for a lot of the things that went wrong here, but so was DPS, so was the sheriffs, the police. They were walking around like it was a Sunday afternoon with no sense of urgency.
I want to change. Enough is enough, and we need to change the gun laws to 23 so people that are young, they will not have to buy a gun.
Turn in your badge and step down. You don't deserve to wear one.
Chills. A young girl having to say that. Arredondo was not at the hearing, but his lawyer said Chief Arredondo will not participate in his own legal and unconstitutional public lynching and respectfully requests the board immediately reinstate him with all back pay and benefits and close the complaint as unfounded. Wow.
Again, can I kick it off just saying,
Yeah.
I don't know where we are.
Right.
If you're a school bus driver and you drive the school bus off a cliff and everybody dies and you survive, are you going to drive the bus next week? No,
And
you're not doing your job.
And get benefits.
Where do we live? You signed up to go protect those children and you put hand sanitizer on. You didn't do anything. What is the fight back? We can't all agree on anything, but aren't there some things we could say, are you out of your mind?
Erica, I really do want to hear from you, but I feel like we've lost civility, and I feel like we're trying to, go after people with just humanity that it's not inside him. The person that will respond like that, you saying, hey, my kid died, he's like, yeah, but I want my benefits back. So how do you deal with that person? Do you sue him too? Is that just where we are?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where we are. When you talk about all of you guys are parents and you're thinking about your child, I'm thinking about possibly bringing a child into this world, and how that is actually a choice for me to
How are
make.
you feeling about that?
It freaks me out. If I'm not naturally, which I'm not biologically able to become a mom naturally, so I have to make a decision and put my body through a lot of things in order to bring this miracle into this chaos. It makes me not want to. It makes me want to just be like, this is what God intended for me not to have to worry about a heartbeat outside of myself because my heart hurts so bad. And it's just me. So I look at this and it's I always think about the straw. Everyone's like, oh, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. And our straws are like major vacuums of suction of humanity. Our straws are going in and listening to countless children being gunned down while you sit back and do nothing. And now we have a conversation about your stinking pension. This man has an opportunity to go and make money and have a whole nother career if he chose to do that. But these families are forever broken. And this is what we're talking about. This dude who literally should just disappear from the face of the earth.
Can't believe
because
you.
I guarantee you that if the straw was this big to finally have him fired, what was all of the little things? Mm-hmm. The little things.
Right. Wow. Well, great conversation. We will be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Attention military personnel, families, and
Am I going crazy? Who raised you?
Why am I right all the time? Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year.
Remember?
We always do.
I know.
Spanking story coming up next.
Yeah.
It seems like it was parent-driven. The parents really wanted to bring corporal punishment back.
Yeah.
And parents at the school district have to opt in or opt out.
Can we explain exactly what that means? Corporal punishment?
We're just saying spanking.
Okay.
Spanking.
Because corporal punishment sounds like a lot.
Right. We're
Doesn't
not
it?
saying
Physical punishment.
Okay.
Spanking,
So that's
paddling.
Paddling, the ruler.
Yeah.
What they used to do back in
Yeah.
the day, and I thought was gone forever long ago, but
Like an army punishment?
Marine,
Yeah.
upside down,
Yeah.
waterborne.
So to go back and address like I didn't know it was going to go like that, right? Sometimes it just gets emotional.
What did I
here,
miss?
And
I mean, that was my first
today's
thought
one of
on
those days.
There
Yeah.
it is. Wow.
Yeah, it is. I'm still a little emotional. I don't know why. Is my
Because
wife
you
pregnant?
envisioned you in his
I know,
shoes.
but
That's
sometimes,
empathy.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's weird. I don't know. Sometimes it just goes that way.
Yeah, it took me a while to get over.
I just
When I saw that picture, really.
Yeah, just the family aspect of his daughter, which is
the
like.
photo, you know what the photo was too. I don't want to say it
I
out
don't
loud.
even-
Just imagine the worst case scenario. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I don't even.
I don't want to even tell you. But so I can only imagine being Vanessa, knowing that those photos are around, and let's say they weren't public. So for her, it's twofold. One, it feels like a robbery of her own trauma. Like, don't you dare giggle and pass around or be in awe or whatever it may be. Or profit from those photos. And then, on the other side of that, what if those photos get out and my other children have to see that image?
Right.
All right.
Like further re-victimizing. Really controversial discussion. Okay, we're going to dive into it. How do you feel about your kids or your grandkids getting spanked for bad behavior? Here's another side to it. What about at school? Well, a school district in rural Missouri was having behavioral issues with its students. After suggestions from the parents, the district decided to bring back spanking as a punishment of last resort. But parents would have to provide the school with written permission to do it. Parents in the area have reportedly thanked the superintendent for bringing back the punishment. Perfect person to talk to. You are a former teacher. We don't even know how the teachers feel if the teacher wants to pick up a paddle and hit one of their students. As a former teacher and as a parent to 3, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's unconscionable that somebody would take my child into a room, somebody that is a stranger. I don't care what is on their desk, assistant, vice, whatever, superintendent. I don't care who you are.
Look at Erica's face. Pause.
You're putting your hands on my child. That, I mean, eye for an eye. Like there's nothing in the world that's going to hold me back from doing the exact same thing to you. There's not enough jail bars, there's not enough handcuffs. If you put your hands on my kids at school, first of all, what adult would accept the responsibility to take somebody in the back room and take their pants down? What adult would do that? What adult do you know would do that?
Well, the parents would.
They have to, right? They'd have to, yeah.
But okay, but go ahead, Erica.
So the parent. Okay, so essentially, let me just fix it for you. So in this particular school, a bunch of parents decided that they want someone who's essentially a stranger, just graduated from college and got a teaching degree, to take their child and touch their bottom. That's what it is. That's the headline. Parents at this school think it's acceptable and feel like it's needed for someone who's a stranger to take their child separately and touch their bottom.
In an aggressive way.
Yeah, and you don't know who the person is, their strength factor, if they have
Who cares if you know who they are?
No, I'm just saying, every person's in it. One person's smack is different than another person's smack. One person could be racist. One person could have prejudices. One person could think that's the last straw when another one has more tolerance. It's a slippery slope, my friend.
It's a cliff. It's not even a slope.
Right,
What are you?
right.
Yeah,
Right.
you're taking my kid. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, you brought.
Colorado, Jeff. Did you know that? We are allowed, it's state by state, corporal punishment.
I don't think I didn't sign up for that. That wasn't offered to me.
You better read the
That wasn't offered to me. My mom still talks about like going to Catholic school. You know, she's in her 70s now and getting whacked. And she's still like, I still remember those nuns. Could you imagine like in school getting your pants taken down and beaten with a pad? What does that do to you for the rest of your life?
It teaches you to hit. We know, we have data. Here's the thing. I get it. Everyone's, you know, as a parent, you're going to do your own thing based on perhaps the way you were raised. We do have decades of data now that show if you're hit, boys biologically will act outward with aggression. Girls will act inward. And they've seen that the girls acting inward, that can result in a loss of control. So then they regain control in other ways, like an eating disorder. So we have data now that shows us that that's not the greatest form of punishment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I hope that we do a follow-up story to this next week, that this is over, because this is...
advocating?
I want to know I would like to know. I would like to know the positives. We're all on one side. I always want to see what are you signing up for that you think your child is going to benefit from. I just would like to have a conversation. But what do you think is going to happen?
Well, at that point, if you're saying, okay, it's fine to spank my child, then I'm pretty sure that therapy, or I don't know, some type of correction in why this child is acting out the way that they're acting out, that you believe spanking is the final resort, those things might not have been explored.
Right. We'll be right back.
Darlings, this is very important. If your car
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, so it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In D.C., the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back. So California is getting ready to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars, and they're hoping to do it by 2035. It's all part of a transition to clean transportation. It will encourage car companies to sell non-polluting, clean electric cars in that state and across the rest of the country. So let me just be clear, though. No one is coming for your gas car, okay? The rules do not ban the sale of used cars, and people who still own a gas car can continue to drive them, can continue to sell them. But we do always want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you support a ban on gas-powered vehicles? Go to dblvote.com to let us know. Erica, what would you say?
I mean, in theory, it sounds like a good idea, but are we even well equipped to provide non-gas vehicles, especially on a mass level? I feel like this is kind of a hierarchical conversation because, as we know, not everyone is going to be able to afford that. What does that mean for people who need to be reliant on gas cars? What does that mean for things like gas stations? What does it mean for the disposal and transportation of these said gas cars, or electric cars? I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you say the word ban, it scares people, right? And it gets them aggressive. Even when you're like, ban, well, I'm going to do the opposite now. You know what I mean? I'm going to go get myself a snowmobile or whatever. But I mean, I want to lean towards, a greener planet, right? Everyone wants to do their part. But I also want an electric car. Imagine not stopping for gas ever again.
Yeah.
So I'm driving until you know, the wheels fall off of my gas car, maybe I'm going to look into it.
I just wonder how affordable it will be. I think, to Erica's point, I think it's a wonderful idea, but a lot of people, our first cars were used cars from like a decade before or more.
Well, how long have Priuses been around?
But sustainable, too. Do we have what it takes to, if everyone wanted a green car right now? I don't know if we have the parts or minerals to support that.
They're giving us 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Right?
15 years is not a long time.
Just blink and you're there, right?
Yeah.
Now, it does cost $15 to charge an electric car as opposed to filling up your gas tank, depending on gas prices, $75, $100 if you drive an SUV. What do you think?
I mean, I full disclosure, I have a hybrid now, but you know, I had a muscle car before this, so I lived in both worlds, and everybody knows I love my gas cars. And good news, anybody that has a gas car, don't worry, it's going to go up, because after 2035, when those cars aren't being made as much, look at it as a positive. Your car is going to be worth a lot more.
And 80% of you say no. Do you support a ban? Nope. No, you don't. We'll be right back.
Nobody likes a ban.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Every year, the federal government adjusts how much money it gives to Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients. This is called a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and is tied closely to inflation. Some people on social media are claiming that since inflation is rising so much, recipients will see a large increase next year in their monthly payments. Verify viewer Ruby and other viewers reached out to ask if that's true. So let's verify. Is Social Security's cost of living adjustment expected to be higher than average in 2023? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, AARP, and Mary Johnson, a Social Security and Medicare policy analyst with the Senior Citizens League. Annual increases are calculated using the Consumer Price Index, which is based on how much more people are paying for select goods and services. For the last decades, COLA has been around 2% a year, but in the last 2 years, as inflation has been rising, the cost of living adjustment has also gone up. In 2022, it was nearly 6%. The additional money started arriving in January and was the largest annual increase since 1982. The SSA will announce the official 2023 number in October, but our experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could get an additional $160 a month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
This decision by the Biden administration to cancel thousands of dollars in debt for so many people who borrowed for college comes with relief, with skepticism, and with a lot of questions. We turn to these sources for some clarity. How do you take advantage of the program? The Department of Education's website states it will announce further details in the weeks ahead, and that nearly 8 million people will receive it automatically if their relevant income data is in the DOE's system, like for an income-based repayment plan. It's a good idea to keep an eye on mail and email from your loan servicer. Does this apply to current students with loans? Yes, but if they're dependent students, eligibility will be based on parental income rather than their own. How has the cost of college changed over the years? National Center for Education Statistics data reveals the climbing cost of college over the past 50 years. Adjusted to modern dollars, the average price of tuition, fees, room and board at public institutions is up about 230%. The White House cites analysis finding nearly 1/3 of borrowers have debt, but no degree. Do Black borrowers have a bigger debt burden? According to the Education Data Initiative, Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. That's why the NAACP has been among the voices calling for more money towards paying down student debt in the name of racial equity. The White House also announced plans to change monthly payment structure moving forward, update the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and reduce the cost of college overall. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Hey, DBL Nation. So we make this show for you, whether you believe it or not, and your feedback is more important to us than ever. So we created a short survey. Complete it, please. Simply go to dailyblastlive.com/survey or scan the QR code on the screen with your camera phone. We hope you'll just take a few minutes to share your thoughts because we really want to hear from you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailyblastlive.com, or our app. But if you get the second half of the show where you are, here is what's ahead. He's had countless roles in so many classics like Office Space and Talladega Nights. Actor Gary Cole will be here live to tell us about his latest character on NCIS. And did a dog end Sylvester Stallone's 25-year marriage? He's telling the real story behind the breakup. Stay with us.
It was this tweet from Piedmont Natural Gas that says 90% of energy used by washing machines goes to heat the water. So our question is, can you save more money by switching that water to cold? Let's verify.
Our source is Piedmont Natural Gas and Energy Star, a government program that promotes energy efficiency. Almost everything is going up in cost, including your energy bill.
You know, we're aware that energy costs are going up these days, along with costs for a lot of things.
With inflation hitting people's pocketbooks, there are ways to save, and that starts at home.
And this is an easy way, you know, to kind of get a little of that money back.
According to Piedmont Natural Gas, a family of 3 can spend between $338 and $380 every year heating their water, depending on whether they use electricity or natural gas.
Wash your clothes in cold water and save yourself some energy and some money.
Energy Star says heating up water consumes about 90% of the energy it takes to operate a washing machine, and switching the temperature setting, even from hot to warm, can cut energy use in half. Cold water reduces energy even more.
With these appliances being so energy efficient these days, it really is about kind of monitoring your own usage. Things that you can do that will help reduce that energy usage even further.
So we can verify that yes, washing your clothes in cold water can save on energy and in turn save you some money. With your Verified, I'm Megan Bragg.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. So we got Sly Stallone again for the 3rd day in a row, but this time I feel like we might be able to clear up some of the controversy.
If not, we'll do it again tomorrow. Till you guys learn your lesson out there.
Exactly. So we do have some new information. Sylvester Stallone and his soon-to-be ex-wife Jennifer Flavin are now speaking out. Jennifer filed for divorce after 25 years of marriage, but soon after, many speculated it was all over a dog. Sly recently got a tattoo of Jennifer covered up with an image of his K9 co-star from Rocky, also his real dog at the time. But some speculated that the two were arguing over how to care for Sly's new dog, Dwight. But Sly set the record straight. He told TMZ, quote, "We did not end the relationship on such a trivial argument. We just went in different directions. I have the highest respect for Jennifer. She's an amazing woman. She's the nicest human being I have ever met." Jennifer also released a statement saying she will cherish the relationship. However, as we mentioned, there are court docs showing she is also accusing her ex of hiding marital assets that could affect the worth of their estate. Maybe that's the attorney's move, though. I want to try and give him the benefit of the doubt, but maybe I shouldn't. What do you think?
I think he's got a lot of respect for his wife after he covered her face with a dog.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just jumping on board this story. I'm over it. We have Bravo now. We have some real get in the dirt relationship crisis. I really don't care about Sylvester Stallone, and I don't even know his wife's name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry I don't.
Jennifer Flavin.
3 days in a row. I'm sorry. I wish you guys well. You have 3 kids. They're grown. Make it amicable and let's move on, Rock. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Erica, what do you think?
I don't know why we're so like, divorce. Like, it's weird. It's weird. It makes people think that they should be marriage martyrs. Like, I think people get divorced. It happens. You know, like, I don't know what else to say about
Let's wish them the best.
Right,
and move on.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to leave
There
it
we go.
there. So speaking of celebrity exes, though, Olivia Wilde is speaking out about being served custody papers. We covered this on the show by her ex on stage while giving a presentation about her new film back in April.
She could have just said it's tickets to the Yankees, and then like no one would have known.
Pretended.
Yeah.
Speaking to Variety, Olivia called the move by her ex, Jason Sudeikis, quote, vicious, adding he was trying to sabotage her. She said she wasn't surprised by his actions, saying there was a reason she left the relationship. Now, at the time, Jason said he had no idea how she would be served that way and called it inappropriate. Who do you believe, Erica?
I don't know. People have a lot of like, I mean, I understand, you know, you commit to a relationship, something goes wrong, y'all break up, and there's some bitterness. But it's also a path to freedom, and I need people to like get on that train, because if somebody don't want to be with you, or they don't mess with you the way they used to mess with you, that's like a perfect invitation to like just on that, so that the stuff that's supposed to be for you can come in. Now, I have one divorce under my belt, and I say one and final only, because we're gonna have to ride this until the end of our days, no matter what happens. But I do understand that, like, people want to hold on to the past so much that I wouldn't put it past anyone to serve someone publicly like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that she should have expected it. I'm not saying that he should have done it. I think it's a bigger commentary on human beings that at the end of our relationship, it almost seems like the stuff in the middle didn't count at all.
I know.
Like, we did have, if you're together 25 years like Stallone, which you're done talking about, you know? Like, you never go, hey, I'm not gonna try and destroy this person. I'm gonna get what's fair. I helped contribute to this household. Jennifer Flavin is never gonna work again. You know, and Jason Sudeikis and his ex will never worry about money again. But to do something to publicly humiliate them on the way out, I feel like it just takes away from everything, and I don't understand why it's such a thing where, like,
that's an American issue. You go to other countries, watch Divorce Court. You go to other countries.
Go to other countries to watch Divorce Court?
No, you watch Divorce Court about our country's divorce system and how the attorneys flood the media, flood different requests and affidavits in order to get money. And they don't care how much conflict, how much pain is resurrected in the process, because other countries, they will have a real mediator that's paid for by that country to try to work things out amicably. That is their goal. That's where a lot of their taxpayer money goes to in situations like that. Here, it's all about capitalism.
Right.
They find out how much money is in your bank account. They go, oh, Al, how much money is in your bank account? And then they go over here and they go, okay, great. We got about 2 years to bleed him dry.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just really quick, I know we have to move, but I got divorced in LA. My ex-wife and I are so cool. We use the same lawyer. Like, I just got it. Like, we're friends, you know, and we still, it was almost impossible. They make you wait. Yep. They're sending things back like, are you sure? Jeff said that he wants, you know, he's going to take the spare tire in the other car. Are you cool with that? So they're just trying to drag it out, even when people are like, I'm giving her and her new guy money for their bachelor and bachelorette party. Like, we're friends, and we still couldn't get divorced. It's very difficult.
Exactly. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, Jason Sudeikis may play soccer.
I feel like we glossed over the bachelor and bachelorette party. We just glossed over that bachelor and bachelorette party. You're paying for their bachelor and bachelorette party?
Give them a little money to go gamble. They're going to be in Vegas. Have fun, kids. Yeah, I'm not giving them the whole thing. That's the mother of my children.
I love it. That is a good example. Okay, so we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is everywhere, and I'm so glad we're talking about it because it's important.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
so Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Garcelle Beauvais says her son is being viciously attacked online. It all has to do with an ongoing feud, by the way, with co-star Lisa Rinna and other castmates. But instead of attacking Garcelle, some people have actually come, lots of people, let's be real, lots of grown adults have come for her 14-year-old son, Jax, who has appeared on the show. Garcelle reposted a message from Jax saying his Instagram account is being spammed with racist and and crude comments about him and his family. He added that he is not involved with the show and just wants to be a normal kid. Garcelle posted this message to fans asking them to leave our kids alone. Bravo also released a statement urging viewers and social media followers to refrain from targeting their cast and their families with harmful rhetoric. And Erica, before you jump in here, his post, he's 14 years old, he said, I should just be able to go to my first day of high school and enjoy it. But instead, I'm dealing with like really racist, horrific comments on my social media.
Yeah, this is a child.
Yeah.
He happened to be in a scene. He's never been featured, but he was in a scene. And one of her castmates, Erica Jane, told him to get the bleep out of here and repeated it. And it was very aggressive and not the way that an adult should be speaking to a child under any circumstances. I think that what we're dealing with at the core of this issue, because there have been other issues, is that young black boys are adultified. And the idea that you would have so many people coming after this 14-year-old child in this way. One of the posts read, you better be glad that your daddy's white, otherwise you'd have a knee on your neck. He's 14. Wow. And the fact that the network was so slow to address this, and not just Bravo, there are a lot of other networks that have had people who have appeared on them be come for, their children have been come for, and there needs to be a line in the sand. Like, I consider reality shows a spectator sport, but I am not going to aggressively come after people because they said something or did something I don't like for their children. Like, they're not even a part of the show.
Yeah. It's the same question. Are we going to be humans or are we not? That's every story we're covering.
Right.
It's the same question.
Yep.
And we have to answer that as a group, and we'll see.
Erica, thank you for providing that context. Coming up on DBL, you know him from so many movies like Office Space and Talladega Nights.
Wow.
Just to name a few. You guys, there's Gary Cole.
Yeah.
He's right there. Yep, we're going to talk to him next.
It's amazing.
DBL is all new every day.
Okay, so our next guest, Gary Cole, I'm super excited about. You might not know the name, which is, I think it's fantastic. If I go back and have any career in Hollywood, I'd have this guy's career. He's in everything that I watch. He's in classic movies. He has classic lines. He does everything in his business. But if you saw him in a grocery store, you'd be like, I know that guy, but I don't know his name. His name's Gary Cole. He's fantastic. I'm so excited about this interview.
It would be difficult if you watch any kind of cable movie to like say I've never seen him before.
For sure.
I'm such a fan. Like you said, you're
Chicago guy too.
Oh,
yeah.
Shout out to the Chi-Town.
I think he started at Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Chicago really doesn't get
He
the
did,
props
right?
it
Yeah.
It should for like improv and theater. So many. I feel like Chicago's like the perfect breeding ground. It's got good stand-up. And
They got
good
Second
improv.
City there?
Yeah, so it's a Cincy started on it. You know, Hannibal, Chicago, Camille Nanjiani, Chicago, like all like those guys. All
Is he
like,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all out of Chicago. So yeah, it's a good city. I always tell people like comics. I was like New York or LA. I'm like sometimes if somebody's got the personality, like Chicago might be the move because you can do a ton of shows.
All right, so yeah, I'm very excited. Stay tuned for this.
Someone read it in the script and kind of.
Welcome back. You know our next guest as the horrible boss in Office Space and the estranged father in Talladega Nights. Now he is the new leader of the NCIS team, Gary Cole. Welcome.
Yeah. Gary, what is up, man? We've been waiting for you. We're happy you're here on DBL, and we got to get right to it. Obviously, we're going to get to your new show, but I got to ask you, what was it like to work with Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights? And, like, was it as fun as everybody would think it would be?
I would say that if I had to pick the most fun I had in front of a camera, that would be on top of the list. Yeah.
Wow.
Any favorite scenes?
Well, the cougar is, I have an affinity for the cougar in the car. And I also enjoyed I think it's the first time the two characters actually meet after, he was a child in some dingy motel room. But Will is fantastic. He was just, I was always on my toes because you never knew what was coming.
That's what's up.
Gary, so happy you're here. I got to tell you, before I go to bed, I watch Veep, I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Entourage, and Arrested Development. You're in 3 of the 4 of those, Gary. So I see you every time I go to. But let's talk Curb because it's one of my favorites. You play the owner of the Dodgers, and you punch Larry David in the face. How did you get to be on that show, Gary? And are you a fan yourself?
Yeah, maybe that's not a select club. People that punch their. I just wound up there. I got a phone call, and I think that usually even people that, that are known have to go through some process of reading. I think somehow I bypassed that. I don't know, but I think that was a mistake. I think when I got there, they thought maybe I had, prepared more than I did. But it was daunting because I wasn't used to, I don't come from any kind of sketch training or anything like that. And there's absolutely no script. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Very detailed dialogue or very detailed outline, but that's it. The dialogue just comes as it goes. But it's one of my favorite shows as well, so I had a great time.
I love it.
That's awesome. All right, Gary, let's talk about NCIS because you joined during season 19 and the writers included an Office Space reference. Let's take a look real quick.
What I'd give to never have to file another TPS report.
You do know it's a TBS report, right? Trans-Bureau Synopsis.
What did I say?
A TPS report.
Old habits. Weird.
That's hilarious. How did it make you feel when this little nugget was included in NCIS?
Well, when the writers came to me, I said, what do you think of this? I said, I'm all in because, that movie's been kind to me. It's kept me on the radar for the last 25 years. So I did have to add the coffee cup at the end to make sure everyone knew what we were talking about there. So, but yeah, I thought it worked well. We brought it up, we threw it away, and that was it.
Just that still image makes me laugh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the 20th season premiere episode of NCIS is a crossover with NCIS Hawaii. Did you get to hang out with the Hawaii cast outside of work? Do you guys all get along? Tell us.
I never made it to Hawaii myself. Wilmer and Katrina from our cast were the ones that actually made a couple of trips there. One earlier last season, and then for this. So anything that I appeared in that was supposed to be Hawaii, spoiler alert, it was in Southern California.
So, Gary, NCIS is one of the most watched TV shows ever, and you're in everything. But what was it like being part of the show that's going into its 20th season?
Well, we're in rarefied territory here. This show is only in company with Gunsmoke from another era, and Law and Order SVU. So it's pretty extraordinary that something has been on this long. So that fact is just, it's a great place to go. Some of the people on this crew have been working there over 20 years because this show also kind of spun off from another show called JAG, which a lot of the crew members were working on before NCIS ever premiered.
Gary, what a privilege. Congratulations with your career with NCIS. Thank you for joining us.
I got 1,000 more questions for next time.
Please come back, please. To our viewers, make sure to watch the 20th season premiere of NCIS. It's on Monday, September 19th on CBS, of course. We'll be right back.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, so it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In DC, the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Happy Thursday. Your deals are here, so get those phones out to scan our QR code and get to shopping. All right, what do you have for us today, Steph?
Hi, Tori. Hey, DBL Nation. I am so excited to show you these deals today. First up, we've got Savvy C genuine 4-carat TW gemstone bracelet.
Whoa.
I know. So this deal includes one bracelet. Look, these are so chic. We have them in 7 styles: sapphire, black spinal, ruby, garnet, blue topaz, amethyst, and citrine.
Oh, I love that.
They're normally $179, and for this craftsmanship, I can see why.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not a bad price for that.
But guess what? We've got them for $39, Tori, which saves everyone at home 78%.
How does Morning Save do this?
I don't know, but
fabulous.
And they look incredible, so chic. They look very expensive.
I'm gonna get the citrine and the garnet for my birthstone and money.
Now, Tori, how great is this?
Oh boy.
It's the Go Wise USA 12.7 quart deluxe air fryer oven with 10 accessories.
Whoa.
So this deal includes 1 air fryer oven, a recipe book, and 10 accessories. Now we've got 3 colors. We've got black, red, and white. Kind of like the red.
I do
know.
too.
And with this, you'll make your leftover pizza taste as good as it did when you got it from the shop. So normally this is $240. It's expensive, but Tori, this is a real piece of technology.
It's like an oven, yeah.
Absolutely, but guess what, Tori?
What?
We've got it for just $79, saving everyone at home 67%.
That's a great amount of saving.
This is a great saving, and it's a great addition if you're trying to lose weight, if you want to be healthy, you've got a kid going off to college.
Totally.
This is honestly a must-have item.
And I'm making zucchinis in my garden, cut them up, air fry them.
There you go.
Done.
Absolutely.
Done.
All right, now look at this, Tori. We've got a great bundle here. It's an 18-pack of the good stuff, bamboo charcoal air freshener bags.
Oh.
So this deal includes 8 medium bags, 8 large bags, and 2 small bags. So let's be honest, summer is tons of fun, but it's also pretty sweaty and a bit stinky. So with these, you will fight off the funky funky smells because they easily absorb smells in and around your home, whether it's your gym shoes or in your closet.
Nice.
And harsh deodorizers are not good. They're made from chemicals. And while these bags are just as effective, they are non-toxic and they will last longer than store-bought air fresheners. So normally this pack is $40, Tori.
Okay.
But we've got them for just $19. It's saving everyone 53%, and you get 18 pieces.
Okay.
18 pieces.
Like $1 a piece.
Oh, it's amazing.
Unbelievable.
And then Tori, you and I love our hair and beauty products, and
Yes,
this
we
is
do.
a great item. My must-have of the week is the Laura Ashley Volumizing Blowout Dryer Brush.
Nice.
So we all love going to the salon and getting a blowout, but the price is insane, and this is going to simplify your routine by drying and styling your hair at the same time. So these combination bristles will provide gentle and tangle-free use with 3 temperature settings, a comfortable handle grip, and a 6-foot rotating swivel cord. This is normally $59, and we've got them for just $20, saving everyone 66%.
You guys!
If you want big, voluminous hair, and it's so much easier to dry with one of these. I cannot emphasize it enough. I'm a big fan.
Me too.
Go
It's
check
like
it out.
brush, hair dryer, made it for $20. What else do you want? Head on
Exactly.
over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, I'm telling you, or you can even just scan the QR code right on screen. It'll take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website, and you will feel like a technological warrior. Thank you so much, Steph. This is good stuff. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Every year, the federal government adjusts how much money it gives to Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients. This is called a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and is tied closely to inflation. Some people on social media are claiming that since inflation is rising so much, recipients will see a large increase next year in their monthly payments. Verify viewer Ruby and other viewers reached out to ask if that's true. So let's verify. Is Social Security's cost of living adjustment expected to be higher than average in 2023? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, AARP, and Mary Johnson, a Social Security and Medicare policy analyst with the Senior Citizens League. Annual increases are calculated using the Consumer Price Index, which is based on how much more people are paying for select goods and services. For the last decades, COLA has been around 2% a year, but in the last 2 years, as inflation has been rising, the cost of living adjustment has also gone up. In 2022, it was nearly 6%. The additional money started arriving in January and was the largest annual increase since 1982. The SSA will announce the official 2023 number in October, but our experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could get an additional $160 a month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
This decision by the Biden administration to cancel thousands of dollars in debt for so many people who borrowed for college comes with relief, with skepticism, and with a lot of questions. We turn to these sources for some clarity. How do you take advantage of the program? The Department of Education's website states it will announce further details in the weeks ahead, and that nearly 8 million people will receive it automatically if their relevant income data is in the DOE's system, like for an income-based repayment plan. It's a good idea to keep an eye on mail and email from your loan servicer. Does this apply to current students with loans? Yes, but if they're dependent students, eligibility will be based on parental income rather than their own. How has the cost of college changed over the years? National Center for Education Statistics data reveals the climbing cost of college over the past 50 years. Adjusted to modern dollars, the average price of tuition, fees, room and board at public institutions is up about 230%. The White House cites analysis finding nearly 1/3 of borrowers have debt, but no degree. Do Black borrowers have a bigger debt burden? According to the Education Data Initiative, Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. That's why the NAACP has been among the voices calling for more money towards paying down student debt in the name of racial equity. The White House also announced plans to change monthly payment structure moving forward, update the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and reduce the cost of college overall. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this, you guys. We have a first look at the new live-action Pinocchio movie starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Take a look.
Hello, Pops.
Jumping jeepers. An almost real boy. Turn around. Let me get a look at you. I will be right here when you get back.
Pinocchio is running around loose without a conscience.
Oh my gosh, Cynthia Erivo also stars as the Blue Fairy. What are you guys feeling, Erica?
First of all, if you don't follow Cynthia Erivo on social media, you have to. It's like following magic. There's like magic. I feel like there's twinkles coming all around her.
So perfectly cast.
Yes.
Perfectly cast. Were you guys Pinocchio fans growing up?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I just got a first glimpse of something I'm going to watch 800 more times.
Yeah, you guys are hitting right at that.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I never got Pinocchio.
Never?
No.
Well,
What about
Pinocchio.
you?
I'm gonna watch Pinocchio because I had Pinocchio PTSD. I told you about the fire scene.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
have
a
to
fire
explain.
scene. Well, I was in a burning building and I ripped out all of my fire things in Pinocchio. So I have to watch it to get over it.
Yeah, you do. That's like a therapy thing that you have to do. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.
Where hope finds help. Where courage meets conviction. Where makers make fans. We are Tegna, a family of local and national media brands that bring us together, serving the greater good of our communities. Where national know-how backs local business. Be in good company with Tegna.
Am I going crazy?
I just love your passion right now.
I'll take it.
Oh, yeah. Actually, let me get on it. You just got me all riled out. Who raised you?
This is a win, right, guys? Why am I right all the time?
I live my life for Spike. Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
I didn't expect that. I love this segment.
Yes.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year. DBL is all new every day.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Vanessa Bryant wins a $16 million lawsuit over the first responders who shared Kobe's crash photos. Does she feel that justice has finally been served? A Missouri school district brings back corporal punishment, but what do the teachers think about spanking students? California gets closer to banning the sale of gas-powered cars. Will electric vehicles take over sooner than we think? Sylvester Stallone and his ex are speaking out about their divorce. Did the marriage really end over the family dog?
Oh my gosh.
Are you
you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. So as many of you have heard, and I've been wanting to talk to you about this, Al, so let's get right into it. Vanessa Bryant won her lawsuit yesterday against LA County. The jury awarded her $16 million after first responders leaked and then shared photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband, Kobe Bryant, and their 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, in 2020. So Vanessa posted this photo to Instagram saying, quote, "All for you, I love you, justice for Kobe and Gigi." I can't even imagine what she must be feeling. Now, during the trial, sheriff's deputies admitted showing those photos to bartenders and friends. They also shared the photos with each other while playing video games. Al, what do you think of the verdict? And I just want to add one more bit of context for you. They also were at a big awards gala, the firefighters were, showing them to one another like mementos or water cooler chat.
Right. I mean, what do you do with somebody that has no moral compass? When somebody has no just baseline humanity. To even if I knew somebody that was doing this, I would question myself. So the fact that people are doing this, and there are people that it's so common that it's being passed around. I know we're talking about Kobe, and Kobe, full disclosure, is near and dear to my heart. Like I listen to a lot of his motivations that I try and work as hard as he did, which is impossible, but that's the standard I try and set. But what if it was just like anybody at home? Just think about it. If this was like your mom or your dad who had fallen. And, their robe had come open as they were dead at the bottom of the stairs, and they were passing around those pictures. The honor that your people carry themselves with. And then that's how they go out, is just some animals passing around that picture. We have to start to question, as I believe we have another story about the police, why are there certain people that are, they cannot be questioned? Presidents can be impeached, people can be indicted, but the cops that mimicked Elijah McClain, who's right down the street in Aurora when he was murdered by the police, when they were mimicking the chokehold they used on a 14-year-old autistic boy, where were what's the sanction? We just can't touch them because they were able to complete police training? Like, I don't understand. Maybe I need to leave DBL and go do that. It seems like a great gig.
Well, do you think, to Al's point, do you guys think that $16 million is enough to set a precedent where this will not happen again? Should it have been more? And I just want to say, too, because people are only talking about Vanessa Bryant, rightfully so, but also it's very important to know that Chris Chester was the co-plaintiff, and he was the one that lost his wife and his daughter in that crash. And his wife and daughter's photos were also being passed around, because there is a culture, to Al's point, this isn't the first time. Erica, is this enough money, do you think?
I struggle to say if it's enough money, because I don't believe it was ever about the money.
Right.
I think it was about sending a message, and the fact that obviously we're leading with Kobe and Gigi because they're worldwide and everybody knows them, and many people were affected by their deaths. But we wouldn't even be having this conversation if they weren't the victims of this super egregious act. So when you talk about the culture, or that anyone could be susceptible to their loved ones or themselves having photos of their final or after death, and you said vulnerable, but it's like, what's the word beyond vulnerability to be passed around in this way, and it's such a pedestrian way? It shows you there's a practice for this. So is $60 million enough? I think that, especially in this climate, no one wants to have to pay out that amount of money, but was it ever about the money? No.
So let me ask you this, Jeff, that I think a lot of people online are asking themselves: are we culpable? Meaning, if those photos were to be leaked, and that was another reason why Vanessa Bryant was so worried. She had already known that they were being passed around within that precinct, but what if they were to get leaked, and then the whole world and then her other children end up seeing those photos? I can almost answer but would you or other people have clicked on that if TMZ posted?
Is there a market for it? Yes, there is. There's horrific things online. Soldiers being decapitated, you could find online, right? I just question just people in general at this point. I'm like, where are you from? And could we have a conversation about something? I teared up when I saw Kobe with his daughter, like, in that picture, just like, I don't know, just think about kids. And I don't even know where I was going. But what I was saying, if someone at the bar showed me a picture of like a little kid dismembered, not even Kobe Bryant, I'd be like, where are you from, dude?
Right.
Why are you showing that to other people?
I think
it's disgusting. What kind of human are you? And I try to, every day I go to bed, I'm trying to figure out this world, and I can't. I don't understand.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my best friends in the world yesterday. I'll be quick, but he said to me, he said, Al, I just don't know anything consistent to tell my kids anymore. Like it used to be like invest in basic things and save some money, but it just seems like, because he was telling me that his wife was told that she lost $16,000 out of her 401k. She's a hardworking regular American. Like nobody can rely on anything. And I used to be able to rely on the fact that you could go on the internet and not click on it and see a dismembered child. But we can't do that now. So we're going to have to, maybe the internet is just showing us who we are. Yeah. We're going to have to decide as a group, as a species, is this the direction that we want to go? Does anybody seem happy? Is anybody with all our internet and all our apps, does anybody seem happy? I sure as hell never see them. I don't. I just see a bunch of adults staring at their phones, wondering what the hell is going on, trying to move money around and look at some video on Bitcoin, but everybody is super detached. I don't understand this world. I didn't grow up in this world. I don't see anybody. No one's alive anymore inside.
There is no more lying.
The fact that people could even...
There is no more lying to hurt people. It's like, because someone did something to me and I'm hurt as an individual, I'm going to spew that all over. So if there's pictures of body parts of people that we love and adore and children, it's not anything close to what I went through. Someone yelled at me at the grocery store. So I have the right to say whatever I want.
I hope we got clicks.
We've gone... I don't even know where we're at. I'm fearful for my children.
Speaking of kids, and thank you for being so honest, all of you. And Jeff, your emotion, trust me, we all feel it. Thank you. So it has been 3 months since the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. I can't imagine what those families are going through. And the school district's police chief, Pete Arredondo, was fired yesterday. He has been criticized, we've talked about it on this show, for being the officer in charge of the scene and was accused of failing to act, as well as stopping other officers from storming the classroom for more than an hour while that gunman was inside. Here's some of the residents' reaction.
I absolutely believe that Pete Arredondo was responsible for a lot of the things that went wrong here, but so was DPS, so was the sheriffs, the police. They were walking around like it was a Sunday afternoon with no sense of urgency.
I want to change. Enough is enough, and we need to change the gun laws to 23 so people that are young, they will not have to buy a gun.
Turn in your badge and step down. You don't deserve to wear one.
Chills. A young girl having to say that. Arredondo was not at the hearing, but his lawyer said Chief Arredondo will not participate in his own legal and unconstitutional public lynching and respectfully requests the board immediately reinstate him with all back pay and benefits and close the complaint as unfounded. Wow.
Again, can I kick it off just saying I don't know where we are?
Right.
If you're a school bus driver and you drive the school bus off a cliff and everybody dies and you survive, are you going to drive the bus next week? No, you're not doing your job.
And get benefits.
Where do we live? You signed up to go protect those children and you put hand sanitizer on. You didn't do anything. What is the fight back? We can't all agree on anything, but aren't there some things we could say, are you out of your mind?
Erica, I really do want to hear from you, but I feel like we've lost civility, and I feel like we're trying to go after people with just humanity that it's not inside him. The person that will respond like that, you saying, hey, my kid died, he's like, yeah, but I want my benefits back. So how do you deal with that person? Do you sue him too? Is that just where we are?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where we are. When you talk about all of you guys are parents and you're thinking about your child, I'm thinking about possibly bringing a child into this world, and how that is actually a choice for me to make.
How are you feeling about that?
It freaks me out. If I'm not naturally, which I'm not biologically able to become a mom naturally, so I have to make a decision and put my body through a lot of things in order to bring this miracle into this chaos. It makes me not want to. It makes me want to just be like, this is what God intended for me not to have to worry about a heartbeat outside of myself, because my heart hurts so bad. And it's just me. So like, I look at this and it's like, I always think about the straw. Like everyone's like, oh, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. And our straws are like major vacuums of suction of humanity. Our straws are going in and listening to countless children being gunned down while you sit back and do nothing. And now we have a conversation about your stinking pension. Like, you have this man has an opportunity to go and make money and have a whole nother career if he chose to do that. But these families are forever broken. And this is what we're talking about. This dude who literally should just disappear from the face of the earth.
Can't believe
because
you.
I guarantee you that if the straw was this big to finally have him fired, what was all of the little things? The little things.
Right. Wow. Well, great conversation. We will be right back.
Closed captioning provided by...
Attention military personnel, families, and civilians who were stationed or worked. Military personnel, families, and civilians.
Am I going crazy?
Who raised you?
Why am I right all the time?
Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year.
We remember.
We always do.
I know.
Spanking story coming up next.
Yeah.
It seems like it was parent-driven. Like the parents really wanted to bring corporal punishment back.
Yeah.
And parents at the school district have to opt in or opt out.
Could we explain exactly what that means? Corporal punishment?
We're just saying spanking.
Okay.
Spanking.
Because corporal punishment sounds like a lot.
Right.
Doesn't it?
Physical
punishment.
Okay.
Spanking,
So that's
paddling.
Paddling, the ruler.
Yeah.
What they used to do back in the day, and I thought was gone forever long ago, but
That's what I like an army punishment.
Marine,
upside
down,
waterborne. So to go back and address like I didn't know it was going to go like that, right? Sometimes it just gets emotional.
What did I
out there,
miss?
and
that was my first
today's
thought
one
of
of
it.
those days. Yeah, it is. I'm still a little emotional. I don't know why. Is my wife
Because you
pregnant?
envisioned you in
I
his
know,
shoes.
I know, but
That's
sometimes,
empathy.
yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's weird. I don't know. Sometimes it just goes that way.
Yeah, it took me a while to get over.
I just
When I saw that picture, really.
Just the family aspect. He's with his daughter, which is
the
like.
photo, you know what the photo was too. I don't even want to say it
I
out
don't
loud.
even-
Just imagine the worst case scenario. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I don't even.
I don't want to even tell you. But so I can only imagine being Vanessa, knowing that those photos are around. And let's say they weren't public. So for her, it's twofold. One, it feels like a robbery of her own trauma. Like, don't you dare giggle and pass around or be in awe or whatever it may be. Or profit from those photos. And then on the other side of that, what if those photos get out and my other children have to see that image?
Right.
All right.
Really controversial discussion. Okay, we're going to dive into it. How do you feel about your kids or your grandkids getting spanked for bad behavior? Here's another side to it. What about at school? Well, a school district in rural Missouri was having behavioral issues with its students. After suggestions from the parents, the district decided to bring back spanking as a punishment of last resort. But parents would have to provide the school with written permission to do it. Parents in the area have reportedly thanked the superintendent for bringing back the punishment. Perfect person to talk to. You are a former teacher. We don't even know how the teachers feel if the teacher wants to pick up a paddle and hit one of their students. As a former teacher and as a parent to 3, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's unconscionable that somebody would take my child into a room, somebody that is a stranger. I don't care what is on their desk. Assistant, vice, whatever, superintendent. I don't care who you are.
Look at Erica's face.
You're putting your hands on my child. That, I mean, eye for an eye. Like there's nothing in the world that's going to hold me back from doing the exact same thing to you. There's not enough jail bars, there's not enough handcuffs. If you put your hands on my kids at school, first of all, what adult would accept the responsibility to take somebody in the back room and take their pants down? What adult would do that? What adult do you know would do that?
Well, the parents would.
They have to, right? They'd have to, yeah.
But
obviously.
okay, but go ahead, Erica.
So the parent. Okay, so essentially, let me just fix it for you. Okay. So in this particular school, a bunch of parents decided that they want someone who's essentially a stranger, just graduated from college and got a teaching degree, to take their child and touch their bottom. That's what it is. That's the headline. Parents at this school think it's acceptable and feel like it's needed for someone who's a stranger to take their child separately and touch their bottom.
In an aggressive way.
Yeah, and you don't know who the person is, their strength factor, if they have
Who cares if you know who they are?
No, I'm just saying, every person's one person's smack is different than another person's smack. One person could be racist. One person could have prejudices. One person could think that's the last straw when another one has more tolerance. It's a slippery slope, my friend.
It's a cliff. It's not even a slope. What are you? Yeah, you're taking my kid. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, you brought
Colorado, Jeff. Did you know that? We are allowed, it's state by state, corporal punishment.
I don't think I didn't sign up for that. That wasn't offered to me.
You better read the
That wasn't offered to me
either.
My mom still talks about like going to Catholic school. You know, she's in her 70s now and getting whacked. And she's still like, I still remember those nuns. Could you imagine like in school getting your pants taken down and beaten with a pad? What does that do to you for the rest of your life?
It teaches you to hit. We know, we have data. Here's the thing. I get it. Everyone's, you know, as a parent, you're going to do your own thing based on perhaps the way you were raised. We do have decades of data now that show if you're hit, boys biologically will act outward with aggression, girls will act inward. And they've seen that the girls acting inward, that can result in a loss of control. So then they regain control in other ways, like an eating disorder. So we have data now that shows us that that's not the greatest form of punishment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I hope that we do a follow-up story to this next week, that this is over, because this is...
I want to know I would like to know. Yeah, I would like to know the positives. We're all on one side. I always want to see what are you signing up for that you think is your child is going to benefit from. I just would like to have a conversation. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, at that point, if you're saying, okay, it's fine to spank my child, then I'm pretty sure that therapy or, I don't know, some type of correction in why this child is acting out the way that they're acting out, that you believe spanking is the final resort, those things might not have been explored.
Right. We'll be right back.
Darlings, this is very important. If your car
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, so it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In DC, the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we could verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back. So California is getting ready to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars, and they're hoping to do it by 2035. It's all part of a transition to clean transportation. It will encourage car companies to sell non-polluting, clean electric cars in that state and across the rest of the country. So let me just be clear, though. No one is coming for your gas car, okay? The rules do not ban the sale of used cars, and people who still own a gas car can continue to drive them, can continue to sell them, but we do always want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you support a ban on gas-powered vehicles? Go to dblvote.com to let us know. Erica, what would you say?
I mean, in theory, it sounds like a good idea, but are we even well equipped to provide non-gas vehicles, especially on a mass level? I feel like this is kind of a hierarchical conversation because, as we know, not everyone is going to be able to afford that. What does that mean for people who need to be reliant on gas cars? What does that mean for things like gas stations? What does it mean for the disposal and transportation of these said gas cars, or electric cars? I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you say the word ban, it scares people, right? And it gets them aggressive. Even when you're like, ban, well, I'm going to do the opposite now. You know what I mean? I'm going to go get myself a snowmobile or whatever. But I mean, I want to lean towards, a greener planet, right? Everyone wants to do their part. But I also want an electric car. Imagine not stopping for gas ever again. Yeah. So I'm driving it till the wheels fall off of my gas car. Maybe I'm going to look into it.
I just wonder how affordable it will be. I think, to Erica's point, I think it's a wonderful idea, but a lot of people, our first cars were used cars from like a decade before or more.
Well, how long have Prius been around?
But sustainable, too. Do we have what it takes to, if everyone wanted a green car right now? I don't know if we have the parts or minerals to support that.
They're giving us 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Right?
15 years is not a long time.
Just blink and you're there, right?
Yeah.
Now, it does cost $15 to charge an electric car as opposed to filling up your gas tank, depending on gas prices, $75, $100 if you drive an SUV. What do you think?
I mean, I full disclosure, I have a hybrid now, but I had a muscle car before this, so I lived in both worlds, and everybody knows I love my gas cars. And good news, anybody that has a gas car, don't worry, it's going to go up, because after 2035, when those cars aren't being made as much, look at it as a positive. Your car is going to be worth a lot more.
And 80% of you say no. Do you support a ban? Nope. No, you don't. We'll be right back.
Nobody likes a ban.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Every year, the federal government adjusts how much money it gives to Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients. This is called a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and is tied closely to inflation. Some people on social media are claiming that since inflation is rising so much, recipients will see a large increase next year in their monthly payments. Verify viewer Ruby and other viewers reached out to ask if that's true. So let's verify. Is Social Security's cost of living adjustment expected to be higher than average in 2023? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, AARP, and Mary Johnson, a Social Security and Medicare policy analyst with the Senior Citizens League. Annual increases are calculated using the Consumer Price Index, which is based on how much more people are paying for select goods and services. For the last decades, COLA has been around 2% a year, but in the last 2 years, as inflation has been rising, the cost of living adjustment has also gone up. In 2022, it was nearly 6%. The additional money started arriving in January and was the largest annual increase since 1982. The SSA will announce the official 2023 number in October, but our experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could get an additional $160 a month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
This decision by the Biden administration to cancel thousands of dollars in debt for so many people who borrowed for college comes with relief, with skepticism, and with a lot of questions. We turn to these sources for some clarity. How do you take advantage of the program? The Department of Education's website states it will announce further details in the weeks ahead, and that nearly 8 million people will receive it automatically if their relevant income data is in the DOE's system, like for an income-based repayment plan. It's a good idea to keep an eye on mail and email from your loan servicer. Does this apply to current students with loans? Yes, but if they're dependent students, eligibility will be based on parental income rather than their own. How has the cost of college changed over the years? National Center for Education Statistics data reveals the climbing cost of college over the past 50 years. Adjusted to modern dollars, the average price of tuition, fees, room and board at public institutions is up about 230%. The White House cites analysis finding nearly 1/3 of borrowers have debt, but no degree. Do Black borrowers have a bigger debt burden? According to the Education Data Initiative, Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. That's why the NAACP has been among the voices calling for more money towards paying down student debt in the name of racial equity. The White House also announced plans to change monthly payment structure moving forward, update the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and reduce the cost of college overall. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Hey, DBL Nation. So we make this show for you, whether you believe it or not, and your feedback is more important to us than ever. So we created a short survey. Complete it, please. Simply go to dailyblastlive.com/survey or scan the QR code on the screen with your camera phone. We hope you'll just take a few minutes to share your thoughts because we really want to hear from you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailyblastlive.com, or our app. But if you get the second half of the show where you are, here is what's ahead. He's had countless roles in so many classics like Office Space and Talladega Nights. Actor Gary Cole will be here live to tell us about his latest character on NCIS. And did a dog end Sylvester Stallone's 25-year marriage? He's telling the real story behind the breakup. Stay with us.
It was this tweet from Piedmont Natural Gas that says 90% of energy used by washing machines goes to heat the water. So our question is, can you save more money by switching that water to cold? Let's verify. Our source is Piedmont Natural Gas, an Energy Star, a government program that promotes energy efficiency. Almost everything is going up in cost, including your energy bill.
You know, we're aware that energy costs are going up these days, along with costs for a lot of things.
With inflation hitting people's pocketbooks, there are ways to save, and that starts at home.
And this is an easy way, you know, to kind of get a little of that money back.
According to Piedmont Natural Gas, a family of 3 can spend between $338 and $380 every year heating their water, depending on whether they use electricity or natural gas.
Wash your clothes in cold water and save yourself some energy and some money.
Energy Star says heating up water consumes about 90% of the energy it takes to operate a washing machine, and switching the temperature setting, even from hot to warm, can cut energy use in half. Cold water reduces energy even more.
With these appliances being so energy efficient these days, it really is about kind of monitoring your own usage. Things that you can do that will help reduce that energy usage even further.
So we can verify that yes, washing your clothes in cold water can save on energy and in turn save you some money. With your Verified, I'm Megan Bragg.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just
it's
stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. So we got Sly Stallone again for the third day in a row, but this time I feel like we might be able to clear up some of the controversy.
If not, we'll do it again tomorrow until you guys learn your lesson out there.
Exactly. So we do have some new information. Sylvester Stallone and his soon-to-be ex-wife Jennifer Flavin are now speaking out. Jennifer filed for divorce after 25 years of marriage, but soon after, many speculated it was all over a dog. Sly recently got a tattoo of Jennifer covered up with an image of his K9 co-star from Rocky, also his real dog at the time. But some speculated that the two were arguing over how to care for Sly's new dog, Dwight. But Sly set the record straight. He told TMZ, quote, "We did not end the relationship on such a trivial argument. We just went in different directions. I have the highest respect for Jennifer. She's an amazing woman. She's the nicest human being I have ever met." Jennifer also released a statement saying she will cherish the relationship. However, as we mentioned, there are court docs showing she is also accusing her ex of hiding marital assets that could affect the worth of their estate. Maybe that's the attorney's move, though. I want to try and give him the benefit of the doubt, but maybe I shouldn't. What do you think?
I think he's got a lot of respect for his wife after he covered her face with a dog.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just jumping on board this story. I'm over it. We have Bravo now. We have some real get in the dirt relationship crisis. I really don't care about Sylvester Stallone, and I don't even know his wife's name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry I don't.
Jennifer Flavin.
3 days in a row. I'm sorry. I wish you guys well. You have 3 kids. They're grown. Make it amicable and let's move on, Rock. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Erica, what do you think?
I don't know why we're so like divorce. Like it's weird. It's weird. It makes people think that they should be marriage martyrs. Like, people get divorced. It happens. You know, like I don't know what else to say about
Let's wish them the best.
Right.
And move on.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave
There
it
we go.
there. So speaking of celebrity exes, though, Olivia Wilde is speaking out about being served custody papers. We covered this on the show by her ex on stage while giving a presentation about her new film back in April.
She could have just said it's tickets to the Yankees, and then like no one would have known.
Pretended.
Yeah.
Speaking to Variety, Olivia called the move by her ex, Jason Sudeikis, quote, vicious, adding he was trying to sabotage her. She said she wasn't surprised by his actions, saying there was a reason she left the relationship. Now, at the time, Jason said he had no idea how she would be served that way and called it inappropriate. Who do you believe, Erica?
I don't know. People have a lot of like, I mean, I understand, you know, you commit to a relationship, something goes wrong, y'all break up, and there's some bitterness. But it's also a path to freedom, and I need people to like get on that train, because if somebody don't want to be with you, or they don't mess with you the way they used to mess with you, that's like a perfect invitation to like just on that, so that the stuff that's supposed to be for you can come in. Now, I have one divorce under my belt, and I say one and final only, because we're going to have to ride this until the end of our days, no matter what happens. But I do understand that. Like, people want to hold on to the past so much that I wouldn't put it past anyone to serve someone publicly like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that she should have expected it. I'm not saying that he should have done it. I think it's a bigger commentary on human beings that at the end of our relationship, it almost seems like the stuff in the middle didn't count at all.
I know.
Like, we did have, if you're together 25 years like Stallone, which you're done talking about, you know, like, will you never go, hey, I'm not going to try and destroy this person. I'm going to get what's fair. I helped contribute to this household. Jennifer Flavin is never going to work again. You know, and Jason Sudeikis and his ex will never worry about money again. But to do something to publicly humiliate them on the way out, I feel like it just takes away from everything, and I don't understand why it's such a thing where, like,
that's an American issue. You go to other countries, watch Divorce Court. You go to other countries.
Go to other countries to watch Divorce Court?
No, you watch Divorce Court about our country's divorce system and how the attorneys flood the media, flood different requests and affidavits in order to get money. And they don't care how much conflict, how much pain is resurrected in the process, because other countries, they will have a real mediator that's paid for by that country to try to work things out amicably. That is their goal. That's where a lot of their taxpayer money goes to in situations like that. Here, it's all about capitalism.
Right.
They find out how much money is in your bank account. They go, oh, Al, how much money is in your bank account? And then they go over here and they go, okay, great. We got about 2 years to bleed him dry.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just really quick, I know we have to move, but I got divorced in LA. My ex-wife and I are so cool. We use the same lawyer. Like, I just got it. Like, we're friends. you know, and it was almost impossible. They make you wait. They're sending things back like, are you sure? Jeff said that he wants, you know, he's going to take the spare tire in the other car. Are you cool with that? So they're just trying to drag it out, even when people are like I'm giving her and her new guy money for their bachelor and bachelorette party. Like, we're friends, and we still couldn't get divorced. It's very difficult.
Exactly. Okay, so let's move on. Jason Sudeikis may play soccer.
I feel like we glossed over the bachelor and bachelorette party. We just glossed over that bachelor and bachelorette party. You're paying for their bachelor and bachelorette party?
Give them a little money to go gamble. They're going to be in Vegas. Have fun, kids. Yeah, I'm not giving them the whole thing. That's the mother of my children.
I love it. That is a good example. Okay, so we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is everywhere, and I'm so glad we're talking about it because it's important.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
so Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Garcelle Beauvais says her son is being viciously attacked online. It all has to do with an ongoing feud, by the way, with co-star Lisa Rinna and other castmates. But instead of attacking Garcelle, some people have actually come, lots of people, let's be real, lots of grown adults have come for her 14-year-old son, Jax, who has appeared on the show. Garcelle reposted a message from Jax saying his Instagram account is being spammed with racist and crude comments about him and his family. He added that he is not involved with the show and just wants to be a normal kid. Garcelle posted this message to fans asking them to leave our kids alone. Bravo also released a statement urging viewers and social media followers to refrain from targeting their cast and their families with harmful rhetoric. And Erica, before you jump in here, his post, he's 14 years old, he said, I should just be able to go to my first day of high school and enjoy it. But instead, I'm dealing with like really racist, horrific comments on my social media.
Yeah, this is a child. He happened to be in a scene. He's never been featured, but he was in a scene. And one of her castmates, Erica Jane, told him to get the bleep out of here and repeated it. And it was very aggressive and not the way that an adult should be speaking to a child under any circumstances. I think that what we're dealing with at the core of this issue, because there have been other issues, is that young black boys are adultified. And the idea that you would have so many people coming after this 14-year-old child in this way. One of the posts read, you better be glad that your daddy's white, otherwise you'd have a knee on your neck. He's 14. Wow. And the fact that the network was so slow to address this, and not just Bravo, there are a lot of other networks that have had people who have appeared on them be come for, their children have been come for, and there needs to be a line in the sand. Like, I consider reality shows a spectator sport, but I am not going to aggressively come after people because they said something or did something I don't like for their children. Like, they're not even a part of the show.
Yeah. It's the same question. Are we going to be humans or are we not? That's every story we're covering. Right. It's the same question.
Yep.
And we have to answer that as a group, and we'll see.
Erica, thank you for providing that context. Coming up on DBL, you know him from so many movies like Office Space and Talladega Nights. Wow. Just to name a few. You guys, there's Gary Cole. Yeah. He's right there. Yep, we're going to talk to him next.
It's amazing.
DBL is all new every day.
Okay, so our next guest, Gary Cole, I'm super excited about. You might not know the name, which is, I think it's fantastic. If I go back and have any career in Hollywood, I'd have this guy's career. He's in everything that I watch. He's in classic movies. He has classic lines. He does everything in his business. But if you saw him in a grocery store, you'd be like, I know that guy, but I don't know his name. His name's Gary Cole. He's fantastic. I'm so excited about this interview.
It would be difficult if you watch any kind of cable movie to like say I've never seen him before.
For sure.
I'm such a fan. Like you said, you're
Chicago guy too.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Chi-Town.
I think he started at Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago. Yeah, I think so.
Chicago really doesn't get
He
the
did,
props
right?
it
Yeah.
It should for like improv and theater. So many. I feel like Chicago's like the perfect breeding ground. It's got good stand-up. And
They got
good
Second
improv.
City there?
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's the Cincy started in, Hannibal, Chicago, Camille Najjani, Chicago, like all like those guys. All
Is he
like-
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all out of Chicago. So yeah, it's a good city. I always tell people like comics. I was like New York or LA. I'm like sometimes if somebody's got the personality, like Chicago might be the move because you can do a ton of shows. And,
All right, so yeah, I'm very excited. Stay tuned for this.
We read it in the script and kind of.
Welcome back. You know our next guest as the horrible boss in Office Space and the estranged father in Talladega Nights. Now he is the new leader of the NCIS team, Gary Cole. Welcome.
Yeah. Gary, what is up, man? We've been waiting for you. We're happy you're here on DBL, and we got to get right to it. Obviously, we're going to get to your new show, but I got to ask you, what was it like to work with Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights? And, like, was it as fun as everybody would think it would be?
I would say that if I had to pick the most fun I had in front of a camera, that would be on top of the list. Yeah.
Wow.
Any favorite scenes?
Well, the cougar is, I have an affinity for the cougar in the car. And I also enjoyed I think it's the first time the two characters actually meet after, he was a child in some dingy motel room. But Will is fantastic. He was just, I was always on my toes because you never knew what was coming.
That's what's up.
Gary, so happy you're here. I got to tell you, before I go to bed, I watch Veep, I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Entourage, and Arrested Development. You're in 3 of the 4 of those, Gary. So I see you every time I go to. But let's talk Curb because it's one of my favorites. You play the owner of the Dodgers, and you punch Larry David in the face. How did you get to be on that show, Gary? And are you a fan yourself?
Yeah, maybe that's not a select club. People that punch Larry. I just wound up there. I got a phone call, and I think that usually even people that, that are known have to go through some process of reading. I think somehow I bypassed that. I don't know, but I think that was a mistake. I think when I got there, they thought maybe I had, prepared more than I did. But it was daunting because I wasn't used to, I don't come from any kind of sketch training or anything like that. And there's absolutely no script.
Wow. Right.
Wow. Very detailed dialogue or very detailed outline, but that's it. The dialogue just comes as it goes. But it's one of my favorite shows as well, so I had a great time.
I love it.
That's awesome. All right, Gary, let's talk about NCIS because you joined during season 19 and the writers included an Office Space reference. Let's take a look real quick.
What I'd give to never have to file another TPS report.
You do know it's a TBS report, right? Trans-Bureau Synopsis.
What did I say?
A TPS report.
Old habits. Weird.
How did it make you feel when this little nugget was included in NCIS?
Well, when the writers came to me, I said, what do you think of this? I said, I'm all in because, that movie's been kind to me. It's kept me on the radar for the last 25 years. So I did have to add the coffee cup at the end to make sure everyone knew what we were talking about there. So, but yeah, I thought it worked well. We brought it up, we threw it away, and that was it.
Just that still image makes me laugh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the 20th season premiere episode of NCIS is a crossover with NCIS Hawaii. Did you get to hang out with the Hawaii cast outside of work? Do you guys all get along? Tell us.
I never made it to Hawaii myself. Wilmer and Katrina from our cast were the ones that actually made a couple of trips there. One earlier last season, and then for this. So anything that I appeared in that was supposed to be Hawaii, spoiler alert, it was in Southern California.
So, Gary, NCIS is one of the most watched TV shows ever, and you're in everything. But what was it like being part of the show that's going into its 20th season?
Well, we're in rarefied territory here. This show is only in company with Gunsmoke from another era, and Law and Order SVU. So it's pretty extraordinary that something has been on this long. So that fact is just, it's a great place to go. Some of the people on this crew have been working there over 20 years because this show also kind of spun off from another show called JAG, which a lot of the crew members were working on before NCIS ever premiered.
Gary, what a privilege. Congratulations with your career with NCIS. Thank you for joining us.
I got 1,000 more questions
I
for
know.
next time.
Please come back, please. To our viewers, make sure to watch the 20th season premiere of NCIS. It's on Monday, September 19th on CBS, of course. We'll be right back.
Congrats,
Thanks,
man.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Every newscast, we give you updated numbers for monkeypox infections. Nearly 16,000 cases nationwide, according to the CDC, including 402 in D.C., 263 in Virginia, and 431 in Maryland. But these are the total numbers, including old infections for people who are fully recovered and those who are currently infected and contagious. So let's verify, what do we know about how many people are contagious right now? Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Adam Brown, an ER doctor who founded ABIG Health. Let's start by breaking down how long a patient is expected to remain contagious.
The time that the scabs can be there can be from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, so it can be a long isolation period.
So how many new cases have been reported in that time frame? In DC, the number of reported cases has jumped by 200 cases in the last 4 weeks. In Maryland, 330 cases in the last 4 weeks. And lastly, in Virginia, it's 204 new reported cases in the last 4 weeks. As for the national picture, updated CDC numbers show 10,686 reported cases in the last 4 weeks. But our experts emphasize these numbers are just an estimate.
There are still undiagnosed people out there, right? And there may be some people who heal faster than the entire 4 weeks. So you have to recognize that it would be a guesstimate.
So we can verify that according to the CDC, people are typically contagious for 2 to 4 weeks. And in that time period, we've seen hundreds of new local cases and thousands across the country. With Dear Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Happy Thursday. Your deals are here, so get those phones out to scan our QR code and get to shopping. All right, what do you have for us today, Steph?
Hi, Tori. Hey, DBL Nation. I am so excited to show you these deals today. First up, we've got Savvy C genuine 4-carat TW gemstone bracelet.
Whoa.
I know. So this deal includes one bracelet. Look, these are so chic. We have them in 7 styles: sapphire, black spinal, ruby, garnet, blue topaz, amethyst, and citrine.
Oh, I love that.
They're normally $179, and for this craftsmanship, I can see why.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not a bad price for that.
But guess what? We've got them for $39, Tori, which saves everyone at home 78%.
How does Morning Save do this?
I don't know, but
fabulous.
And they look incredible, so chic. They look very expensive.
I'm gonna get the citrine and the garnet for my birthstone and money.
Now, Tori, how great is this?
Oh, boy.
It's the Go Wise USA 12.7 quart deluxe air fryer oven with 10 accessories.
Whoa.
So this deal includes 1 air fryer oven, a recipe book, and 10 accessories. Now we've got 3 colors. We've got black, red, and white. Kind of like the red.
I do
know.
too.
And with this, you'll make your leftover pizza taste as good as it did when you got it from the shop. So normally this is $240. It's expensive, but Tori, this is a real piece of technology.
It's like an oven, yeah.
Absolutely, but guess what, Tori?
What?
We've got it for just $79, saving everyone at home 67%.
That's a great amount of saving.
This is a great saving, and it's a great addition if you're trying to lose weight, if you want to be healthy, you've got a kid going off to college.
Totally.
This is honestly a must-have item.
And I'm making zucchinis in my garden, cut them up, air fry them.
There you go.
Done.
Absolutely.
Done.
All right, now look at this, Tori. We've got a great bundle here. It's an 18-pack of the good stuff, bamboo charcoal air freshener bags.
Oh.
So this deal includes 8 medium bags, 8 large bags, and 2 small bags. So let's be honest, summer is tons of fun, but it's also pretty sweaty and a bit stinky. So with these, you will fight off the funky smells because they easily absorb smells in and around your home, whether it's your gym shoes or in your closet.
Nice.
And harsh deodorizers are not good. They're made from chemicals. And while these bags are just as effective, they are non-toxic and they will last longer than store-bought air fresheners. So normally, this pack is $40, Tori.
Okay.
But we've got them for just $19. It's saving everyone 53%, and you get 18 pieces.
Okay.
18 pieces.
Like $1 a piece.
Oh, it's amazing.
Unbelievable.
And then Tori, you and I love our hair and beauty products, and
Yes,
this
we
is
do.
a great item. My must-have of the week is the Laura Ashley Volumizing Blowout Dryer Brush.
Nice.
So we all love going to the salon and getting a blowout, but the price is insane, and this is going to simplify your routine by drying and styling your hair at the same time. So these combination bristles will provide gentle and tangle-free use with 3 temperature settings, a comfortable handle grip, and a 6-foot rotating swivel cord. This is normally $59, and we've got them for just $20, saving everyone 66%.
You guys.
If you want big, voluminous hair, and it's so much easier to dry with one of these. I cannot emphasize it enough. I'm a big fan.
Me too.
Go
It's
check it out.
Brush, hair dryer, made it for $20. What else do you want? Head on
Exactly.
over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, I'm telling you, or you can even just scan the QR code right on screen. It'll take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website, and you will feel like a technological warrior. Thank you so much, Steph. This is good stuff. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Every year, the federal government adjusts how much money it gives to Social Security and Supplemental Security income recipients. This is called a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, and is tied closely to inflation. Some people on social media are claiming that since inflation is rising so much, recipients will see a large increase next year in their monthly payments. Verify viewer Ruby and other viewers reached out to ask if that's true. So let's verify. Is Social Security's cost of living adjustment expected to be higher than average in 2023? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, AARP, and Mary Johnson, a Social Security and Medicare policy analyst with the Senior Citizens League. Annual increases are calculated using the Consumer Price Index, which is based on how much more people are paying for select goods and services. For the last decades, COLA has been around 2% a year, but in the last 2 years, as inflation has been rising, the cost of living adjustment has also gone up. In 2022, it was nearly 6%. The additional money started arriving in January and was the largest annual increase since 1982. The SSA will announce the official 2023 number in October, but our experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could get an additional $160 a month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
This decision by the Biden administration to cancel thousands of dollars in debt for so many people who borrowed for college comes with relief, with skepticism, and with a lot of questions. We turn to these sources for some clarity. How do you take advantage of the program? The Department of Education's website states it will announce further details in the weeks ahead, and that nearly 8 million people will receive it automatically if their relevant income data is in the DOE's system, like for an income-based repayment plan. It's a good idea to keep an eye on mail and email from your loan servicer. Does this apply to current students with loans? Yes, but if they're dependent students, eligibility will be based on parental income rather than their own. How has the cost of college changed over the years? National Center for Education Statistics data reveals the climbing cost of college over the past 50 years. Adjusted to modern dollars, the average price of tuition, fees, room and board at public institutions is up about 230%. The White House cites analysis finding nearly 1/3 of borrowers have debt, but no degree. Do Black borrowers have a bigger debt burden? According to the Education Data Initiative, Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. That's why the NAACP has been among the voices calling for more money towards paying down student debt in the name of racial equity. The White House also announced plans to change monthly payment structure moving forward, update the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and reduce the cost of college overall. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this, you guys. We have a first look at the new live-action Pinocchio movie starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Take a look.
Hello, Pops.
Jumping jeepers. An almost real boy. Turn around. Let me get a look at you. I will be right here when you get back.
Pinocchio is running around loose without a conscience.
Oh my gosh, Cynthia Erivo also stars as the Blue Fairy. What are you guys feeling, Erica?
So, first of all, if you don't follow Cynthia Erivo on social media, you have to. It's like following magic. There's like magic. I feel like there's twinkles coming all around her.
So perfectly cast.
Yes.
Perfectly cast. Were you guys Pinocchio fans growing up?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I just got a first glimpse of something I'm going to watch 800 more times.
Yeah, you guys are hitting right at that.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I never got Pinocchio.
Never?
No.
Well,
What about
Pinocchio.
you?
I'm gonna watch Pinocchio because I had Pinocchio PTSD. I told you about the fire scene.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
have
a
to
fire
explain.
scene. Well, I was in a burning building and I ripped out all of my fire things in Pinocchio. So I have to watch it to get over it.
Yeah, you do. That's like a therapy thing that you have to do. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.
Where hope finds help. Where courage meets conviction. Where makers make fans. We are Tegna, a family of local and national media brands that bring us together, serving the greater good of our communities. Where national know-how backs local business. Be in good company with Tegna.
Am I going crazy? I just love your passion right now.
I'll take it. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, let me get on it. You just got me all riled up.
So
Who raised you?
This is a win, right, guys? Why am I right all the time?
I live my life for Spike. Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
I didn't expect that. I love this segment.
Yes.
You just made my day, my week, my month, my year. DBL is all new every day.